live. Alrighty. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Saturday Special Edition Smudcast number 900, the most profound moment in gaming history. But before we get to that, we're going to be talking about random stuff, which is probably not the most profound parts of gaming history, and that is this weird game we're watching that Mark play. What is this, by the way, Mark?
Okay, so I have been talking ad nauseum about one of the weirder games of the 2000s, and that is Deus Ex 2. I think Deus Ex is known by literally everyone by now, either by the prequel, which is Human Revolution, and it's less successful sequel prequel, but Mankind Divided, was that the title? And Deus Ex is this forgotten fossil that people were trying out new things. The original Xbox was just arrived, and people thought okay, let's put all our efforts in the console version first, and maybe we will figure out something for the PC version. And that happened with a universally beloved game like Deus Ex 1, which was literally got one of the best reviews for its category, and they just decided to go with something like this. So this is done in the Dark engine that Thief was using at the time, and the original was done in Unreal Engine 1, if I recall correctly. And I don't know, just look at these menus. Honestly, C, of course, is for crouching. If I press V, this is the menu.
Wow.
This is the kind of menu that I'm so glad that we don't got stuck with these.
So it's a radial menu HUD?
Radial.
Yeah.
Yes. I think this is something that early 2000 games were utilizing, but the world is much better without it. So this is all the menus that I can access, all these three, and that's it. The original Deus Ex had a much better inventory system that was trying to fit things just in Resident Evil, if I recall correctly, that the weight and the size of the equipment merit and how you place them in your inventory. In here, it's do you have a grenade, different kind of grenades? It has the exact same size if you have a rocket launcher here or a pistol. So it's kind of going to be much more video gamey, but it's something. And also, Human Revolution also did the horrible failure that is doing every single ending that was possible and mashing it together so you can make a sequel out of it. The Deus Ex 2 did the exact same. So JC Denton destroyed the power grid. JC Denton combined with the AI, and JC Denton joined the Illuminati to some extent. So the Illuminati is still here. They are the only people that are in control. But the Knights Templar is also a faction. And then there's a shadowy figure, which turns out to be JC Denton. So it's a lot of weird thing. Oh, and then Christopher Sabat is the voice of the main character.
So they just chose every ending and slammed them together.
Every ending together, mashed them together, and then say okay, this is a fine job.
Oh god,
job well done.
That sounds like what they're going to do for the Mass Effect live action. Everything's just going to work together all at once.
Yeah, every animation in this.
I mean, the
models, animation is terrible.
The models look good, but the eyes are what is going on?
I don't know. Oh yeah, and this is supposed to be Seattle, by the way. This is Upper Seattle.
Whoa! So this is a heads up in your eyes?
Yes.
Wow.
Because this is basically the main character is full with biomods as well. So they can do all kinds of stupid shit. You can see that I have the items, and then I can switch to the biomods. And I already have installed the light, which is just a light that I can activate wherever I go. I can heal myself, I can hack computers, and I can pick up items much easier. And I can run faster as well if I have the biomod available.
The red icon looked like Donald Trump.
Yeah. and there's like some religious zealot here.
Like how they're standing like 3 meters away from each other.
Yeah. By the way, I noticed that like the eyes of the main character aren't even like 3D modeled. Like they're just like a static texture.
Oh, he doesn't blink?
Yeah, he doesn't blink. Which option?
Well, that's just the next version from the first game.
Well, Denton had a visor on the entire time.
That's no excuse for what you did at Tarsus. The orders got to be eliminated. I'm starting with you. I guess this is the right option to take.
Yeah, this is so like KOTOR.
Yes.
Oh, what a conversation.
Have a nice buddy here.
The thing I have to say
It does have like ragdoll physics, which is nice.
I only ever played the very first Deus Ex, none of the others, because I only ever heard things about them that told me, nope, not gonna bother.
Yeah, I don't think you really missed out. Like, look at this. Like, this is supposed to be like the end of the level.
Wow.
Like the upper level.
Okay.
This is it. Like, this is a camera, a gun turret, and it's telling you like, do you want to hack the ADM or not? Do you want to break this
level?
The first level I skipped over because it's more like a tutorial. Like, it gives you like tips and such that how to play the game, but like you don't really need it.
Was this made for console?
This was made for the original Xbox first, and then they made a PC version.
Okay, that explains a lot about the UI choice and everything.
Yeah.
And making a tutorial like that, because you do remember the first level in the first game.
Oh, yeah, Liberty Island.
That is the best first level in any game ever.
It's a huge level, even for like an Unreal Engine game. But you can see like the map. Like, I'm here.
It's a tunnel.
This is like the elevator where I like got out from, and then I just go in the hallway, apartment 2, apartment 2, apartment 1, apartment 2, and then I can go up the stairs, and then there's another apartment, and that's the roof, and that's the entire level.
Yeah, and
it's silly.
In the first game, that would maybe be a side area.
That would be like the pier where you start the game in Deus Ex 1. That's the equivalent. And
so
like this game has like this stupid thing that like there are like 2 rival coffee shops in the game for some reason, and you somehow encounter them on every location you go. And you can skip dialogue, which is nice, but not a lot of games allow it nowadays. And you can read books as usual for a Deus Ex game. I think what this is about. Like,
and at least for the dialogue, it still gives you full text options.
It gives you full text, but like they have cut down the dialogue a lot, because like in Deus Ex you could like have 4 or even 5 pages of dialogue on the screen. Now you can feel like whenever like you get like a lot of dialogue on the screen, like you have to wait a ton to load the next one. So like I'm gonna get into like an ambush right now, and let's see like how it switches between them.
What for? You live here? It's my first time topside. What's a good place to go shopping?
Easy, Red. Mr. P said to lay low.
You deaf? I said I want to get me a fly leather outfit like the one you're wearing.
Come on, man, back off.
Everyone is looking at the person that is talking at the time.
He said stand here. I'm standing here and now I want to go shopping. Only thing is I can't afford the fees.
Like all of them are high or something.
Yeah, it's like a T-pose minus the arms. Like everything's just so stiff.
Yeah.
Punk?
Hear that? You call Red a punk.
At least they have animations for going
But I bet you never
rotating
Yeah.
on an axis. That's good, because usually they just rotate the entire model.
Yeah, but all of them have the same eyes. Like not a single one is.
Like they're
I think that would have
transfixed.
worked.
They put like sunglasses on that one guy, so like you wouldn't see that.
You would look a little different, yeah.
I think that would have all looked better if they had run with the same style as
And now the
main
police
character.
is gonna take care of them.
Oh wow, that's easy. Just mowing them down.
Yes.
Let's stand in front of the giant police turret.
Yeah. I guess like they're gonna have fun.
RoboCop just come.
The gameplay is really good. Wait, I'm gonna finish him off with this.
Can't talk.
You say can't talk?
I can't talk. Yeah.
I'm getting shot.
There's a rat.
Squish.
I think I killed the rat. Yeah.
Yeah,
was
that
enough.
was important details.
And the best part about Deus Ex 2 is the trash.
You can throw stuff.
Yes. And eat trash. I picked up soy, bread, some ammo.
Oh, like a real
I can
Californian.
put the bodies in there.
The future, everyone. Everything's in the trash.
Getting away back.
It's so stupid.
So we were in was it post-apocalyptic singularity Illuminati future?
Yes.
I don't know.
Like this is supposed to be 2077, I believe.
Oh, jeez.
2015. I don't know.
Where everything happened in the first game.
Yeah, and this is gonna be the first time that like the game is gonna like shit itself. Like I don't know if it's still sharing the screen. Does it?
It's black. Oh, it's paused.
Black. Okay, it's paused. I have to share my screen again because if I haven't mentioned it already, basically this game was made for the console first. So that means that they didn't have enough time to like fix the game properly, and that means that instead of like fixing the memory leaks and such, they have decided to kill the entire game process whenever you load the next level.
Which includes the screen acquisition by the application. So it's like
Yes.
we have to kill everything and then reload the
And
app.
now like the most exciting quest of this game.
I'm sorry, the inclinator is closed.
Oh well, they're talking 1 meter apart. Wow, that's great.
Yes. Like the two engineers aren't willing to like go through the inclinator to make that stupid thing work because someone was releasing gas. So nobody is taking responsibility by going down and like fixing that stupid thing. So like some random dude with like the stupidest hair ever has to go in and like fix it himself. I mean, like you can go through these events just like in the original, but like it's just there's just like nothing, like no distance, honestly. Like it's just so small. Like these are like the kind of visuals that they were like compromising for, because like it was so new at the time. Like you can have like these dynamic shadows. You don't have like everything baked into the environment. But at the same time, I just don't feel like the kind of like adventure that like you miss out on was worth it.
Oh, there are gigantic robot spiders.
Like security bots, yeah.
in the air ducts.
Let me see if I have like anything. No, I don't have like any guns to fight against that stupid robot, so I'm just gonna go forward. And oh no, what am I gonna do?
You must be Mathers. Your supervisor sent me to find you. What's going on up there? I know there was a toxic spill, but it doesn't seem like anything's being done about it.
What?
Great dialogue. What's going out there? There may be something happening, but I don't know like what's happening. It's kind of amazing because like this game was made almost entirely by the same staff that made the original game. It just doesn't feel like it.
Wow. They must have had like the weirdest designer, and he just left, and everyone's like, "I guess we work with what they gave us. We don't talk about it."
I think like the original game was designed by the person who made the first System Shock and Deus Ex 1. But other than that, like the writer is the same person.
They
And
didn't have Warren Spector on this one?
yeah, it had Lawrence Spector, but like he was doing like background stuff for this game. I don't know why.
I think he was busy doing like,
That is bad.
Wasn't he working on Thief at the time?
he was doing something else. I know this was this was not his priority, but they had other people working on it.
No, yeah. But like I remember that like he was there. He was definitely there.
I just blame Microsoft.
Yeah, definitely.
It's such a weird game. Like it feels and looks similar.
Oh yeah, and I have magic wands instead of lockpicks. Like everything is open with the magic wand, like this one that I'm holding right now in my hand.
It's what?
Yeah, I like it's called the multi-tool, and it's used for everything.
I mean, the old multi-tool looked weird, but at least it wasn't the
Harry Potter, whatever,
Yeah.
thingamajig. Yeah.
So it's basically an Omni tool in Mass Effect or Sam in Mass
Yes.
Effect Andromeda. just point it at the thing.
This game came out in 2003 or 4, I believe.
Plus,
I can't tell.
plus everyone remembers, if you don't recall from years ago, they talked about Omni ammo, or whatever you want to call the ammunition.
Omni ammo, yeah, my favorite. Whoever designed this game was a genius.
Oh, it's gone. It's gone again.
It's gone again. I'm gonna restart. But you can see like how small these levels are, and like how often does it need to like quit the application and restart again.
Jeez.
Like it's ridiculous. And like how about we go down to the sewers? Like what can we find here? I remember when I was like a kid, I was like maybe like 9. I went down here and I freaked out. Like, what the fuck is this? Because like Deus Ex like 1 had like these like weird creatures that were crawling in the sewers, but like these were like so different. Such a stupid design.
They look like cute versions of an alligator mixed with a xenomorph.
Yes. And one of the better like things about this game is that like it created like this new faction called the Omar. Basically, like they are like cybernetically enhanced slaves, because like they are like, kind of like a mix between like a cyborg and the Borg, because there's like a central unit that controls all of them, and you have a choice if you are capable of like installing biomods to yourself, that like you like install these like units into yourself. So like eventually you just like become like one of them, and then they are like standing in like shady streets, and you can talk to them to like buy like all these like illegal like biomods.
So the Omar have an operation here. How's the black market in Seattle?
And they have
That's
like this
Star
like
Wars
weird like
characters.
Yeah. Again, we're playing KOTOR, guys. This is what it looks
yes, we are playing KOTOR.
What is this guy? He's just
I also
some
wouldn't
dude,
call that enhanced.
just some dude in the middle of a corridor. He's like, "Oh, I got this massive gun. I'm just chilling." Like,
I heard you were selling black market biomods. Can I see them? Oh, like you can't meet the law?
I'm hiding from some Tuscan Raiders. Okay.
They are Tusken Raiders, pretty much. But yeah, like they give you like quests that you can go on and do them, and you get like half of the price. But if you kill one of these guys and you meet like the other factions later in the game, they will not be hostile to you, but they will like increase the price instead. So that's like a good like way to like fuck around with the player. But at the same time, it's just it's like a lot of like silly concepts, honestly.
Well, the idea of player choice is not as extreme as the design of the first game. So
Yeah.
they have to balance it out somehow. So if you do something violent, that's the most easiest to track. It's like, oh yeah, we'll just increase
Yeah.
your price. They won't go through the effort of like opening fire on you on the spot when you load a level, because that would be
Like a lot of like these areas where like you would, I guess it quit again.
yep.
Or did it?
That's great. I love it.
Is it still on?
No.
It says stream paused.
Okay.
Oh, stream is ended. And it's back.
Okay,
Amazing.
stream is back.
I
So
think
like
that's so
most
tiny
of
due
these,
to the limitations of the Xbox.
yeah. So and also like every single weapon that you have in the game has like supposedly like these codes on them. So like every single weapon that you have, even like the melee weapons, have like the kind of like a stupid like plot that Metal Gear Solid 4 had, that like all of them have like a code to them, and if they don't allow you to have that kind of code, then you can't use the weapons at all. So
Wow.
right now I entered like an area where they disabled all my weapons because every weapon goes through like the same government, and it's so silly.
Well, this is the idea of a future society that everything's controlled by digital means. So
Yeah,
they
it's
can,
and this is like the VTuber of this universe. There's like someone who's like a pop star, but she doesn't really exist. Well, actually, there's like a counterpart to her. Like she's like a hologram, but there's like the real singer as well. And it's stupid.
So it's just her avatar?
It's just her avatar, but you can't talk to her. And like basically, it's just for surveillance. And you basically met your pilot just now, and she is actually just an AI.
So she's a Trojan horse AI, so that people let her into their rooms.
Yes, and
Like a
like share
smart TV.
information with her. Yeah, like private stuff.
Well, at least there were still foreshadowing ideas in the game.
Oh yeah, like this game like began with like a huge bomb going off in Chicago, and then you also have to go to Trier, Germany, to investigate something. I don't know like what happens in Trier, Germany, so
Why
I've
would
never
you go
been
to
there.
Trier? There's nothing there.
There's nothing there.
There's
But
nothing
there's
there.
like a lot of like biologically enhanced animals there, apparently. But yeah, like
I
we
could
have.
believe that. We have an issue with radioactive boars.
so that didn't shut down the stream.
It
Yeah.
didn't.
No,
It didn't.
no.
Wow. Maybe this time it didn't have to quit because like there was nothing to.
Yeah. You know, that's
It is still black.
it is okay, now it's dead.
It's
gone.
black now. Okay.
Well, it is interesting to not even like consider how do we properly control memory and when loading and deloading stuff. It says,
Yeah.
well, we're not going to worry about that. Let's just shut it down and then bring everything back up as if
Shut it down.
Yeah.
Shut all of it down.
yeah, it's so like it's really efficient when you think about it, but I don't know if that's the proper practice because
It's definitely
we're talking
not.
about like Windows 98 sort of era, I think. Like late
XP, I believe. Like this was like
Oh,
XP.
XP?
by
Oh, okay.
that time. Yeah.
All right. So,
XP came out in 2001.
so that's when they were like, all right, we got to figure out this memory leak crap on the rest of the world. And Xbox is like, we're all running the original XP on our boxes.
Yeah.
So
It's
consider-
gonna change the level now.
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, consider that this is still a single player. Is a single player game. They don't need to bother with multiplayer, and they certainly didn't need to bother with streaming software.
Oh yeah. But
So
Yes.
you were more free in these ugly hacks.
it's kind of like having a game launcher and then the actual game instance. So the game launcher is always active and it just checks and says, okay, what are we doing? Oh, we're loading a level. Okay, kill the other instance and then load the new instance with this new level. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but because like I believe like these were all programmed for like one core processors, because like the needs for like these games weren't as high as they are nowadays. They had to design it like that, but
I know.
okay,
It's just
like now but I have basically completed the first quest on the first like major city location, and now yeah, I can't board the subway because these guys have killed the guard and like they are like trying to like get a fee.
Take it easy.
I just saw that poster behind. Was that a real woman or that's a 3D woman?
That's the 3D woman, and she's the I think like Kidney Thieves is like the band. Like it's like a very unknown band, but it's probably like one of those Seattle ones. Because like the
So
Long,
is,
the
that was
long
a
arm of the
silent
law.
takedown.
is there a stealth branch to gameplay or is it all just combat and exploration?
There's a stealth to this game, yeah. Like it's like it has like a really bad AI, but there's like stealth to it, because like if you like do silent takedowns without like the enemy like shouting, then you can't take them down without like alerting anyone. So it does work.
Oh wow, that was
to
the hack.
a
You
degree.
just hack it.
That was the hack, yeah. Like you just like have to stand to it, and it will hack the computer. And the way like you can like increase this efficiency is by just like installing like 2 more biomods to it. So it like increases the level, like the speed of it, and it like allows you to like turn off and on things. Like level 2, I can turn on and off turrets, and on level 3, I can even like make them like target like the enemy.
So
instead of me.
there's not even a simple mini game like a lockpick, or as in the prequel, they had the node hacking system where you were jumping nodes.
And also,
There's
like the very
none of
first game,
that.
it's just a skill check, and
And
just like
now I have a shotgun.
Vampire.
Ooh.
Wait. I don't even know like how do I like swap it with this one? Oh yeah, enter. Why didn't I think of that? This one? I can't even. How do you? I don't know. Wait, swap is right click. Okay. That's so bad.
Oh, look out.
Okay, but basically, I think like that's enough introduction for Deus Ex 2. It's like the story isn't that bad, and the whole game itself isn't that bad either. But like it's just has like so many of these weird ideas that I don't think like they work collectively.
Are there any like high moments that you could say that this game is worth playing just because?
I think like meeting JC Denton is like one of it does remind me that like this was still made by the same team, because like every part about JC Denton in this game is like genuine, and it feels like it's connected to the first game. But the ideas that forced this game to take like this kind of ending, that like all the endings of the first game happened, is just working against it. Like, because like the story is still that the Illuminati is in control, they somehow are still in power, but like the Knights Templar is also like a major faction now, even though they have disappeared in the first game. Like you can really like read the lore that like the Illuminati like killed all of them, because like they used to be like the bankers of this like world in the Deus Ex universe, but like they just vanished. And they just return like with like a full army and such, but it's all nonsense, honestly. But like some parts of it are like really good, but like, it's just the level design where like this game suffers a lot, because like you go to Cairo, you go to Seattle, you go to Trian, and you go to, I think there's like another like city that you can visit. I can't recall, like Antarctica. And it all feels small by comparison to like what you experienced in the first game. So like it has some good dialogue, but not a lot. And the story is fine. And a good thing about this game is like it takes like only like 5 or 6 hours to 100% it. So it's
What?
it's quite easy. Like it's like a good afternoon game if you really want to like have like an adventure.
This was full price?
I would say like it has very responsible controls. It's just like when you compare it to like the original Deus Ex, like you can definitely feel like this is like a dumbed down version of that game. Because in the original Deus Ex, you had like all of these skills that you had. Like right now, like my health bar is this. But in Deus Ex, if you get hurt by your arm or your leg, you lose like your sense of speed. Like you get like essentially like slower, your aim is gonna get worse, but if you lose your head, then you just instantly die. So like you had like your body parts attribute to like your health. This is just like simplifying all of that, and also simplifies the biomods. You only had like 6 of them, like 6 slots, and instead of like 15, like no 12, you had like 12, and it really shines through that like it wasn't designed for the PC.
Yeah, it feels like a Dragon Age 2 sort of production where they have the same team involved, but they had no time, not enough resources, didn't have time to focus.
You can drink beer though, so I guess like, that's good.
You can drink beer.
And if you drink beer, like yes,
Good.
yeah, it's bad. You don't have like the orange machine, like the orange juice, but you have like this feature.
Soy, yummy.
Soy,
delicious.
Okay.
But yeah, that's about it. That was Deus Ex 2.
6-hour game. You can probably find it on Steam. I don't know if it's compatible, but
It is on Steam, and it's also on Good Old Games as well. And wait, I have like this grenade.
I want to conclude from this that the Xbox set back video games.
Yeah, like the Xbox is known, like the original Xbox is known for like Knights of the Old Republic, and this one, I believe.
well, Mass Effect on the Xbox, I remember.
Yeah. Wasn't like Mass Effect one?
Wasn't it
on the 360 instead?
I thought it was the original.
No,
Oh, really?
The original was way too weak for that. And
Yeah.
this and Halo were just setbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Halo was ready to release years earlier.
indeed.
Okay, well, we're going to switch on over gears to someone else. And thank you, Mark, for that odd trip down memory lane. In case no one knows, that was Deus Ex 2 or Invisible War, I think it was called.
Yeah, you were really missing out, man. Like, you imagine your life. Instead of like covering Mass Effect, you would be covering Deus Ex 2, just like Razorfist does.
Oh, God. Really?
Because apparently, like, Razorfist loves this game.
Really?
I don't know how.
What is wrong with him?
Okay.
He doesn't mean the original one, he means this one?
Like, he likes Deus Ex 1 and 2. He is sticking to the point that, like, he doesn't like the prequel because it's just dumbing down the story, if I recall correctly. But other than that, like, he likes Deus Ex because, like, he thinks it's a much smarter game than Kojima's Metal Gear Solid. Because
Whoa.
like people like to bring up Metal Gear Solid as like the counterpoint to these other like conspiracy theory video games, because it like both of them, like both Deus Ex and Metal Gear Solid, was like taking like a lot of inspiration from conspiracy theories of the time, and because like both of them were done around the beginning of the 2000s, they kind of like were probably using the same source. So yeah.
You mean the open documents and dystopian novels that were just telling the plot of reality because they knew what was on the inside already?
Yeah, well, what's that? Like, I think like the author of the writer of the original Deus Ex and 2 was very open about it, that like he was just looking through 4chan. And not 4chan, but like something that was before that, like online
something
forums.
Awful.
Yeah, like, those things that he was like looking desperately for inspiration for like a conspiracy story, and like what's better than like conspiracy theories? So
he didn't actually know. He just went with whatever was on the web.
He went with whatever. Like there's like if you check like the back of the first level of Deus Ex 1, then you can't see the World Trade Center at all. And that was like a technical limitation, but it pretty much like predicted 9/11 like a year before it happened.
What a coincidence.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much for your time there, Mark. Again, very odd little game. I wouldn't say it's experimental. It seems just something put together from a quirky team from a game that was so well loved, even by... Like, even I respect... I never really got into the original Deus Ex. I tried it, and I was like, this is not for me, but I saw what it became, and I saw...
Just imagine its Masquerade Bloodlines.
Yeah. Yeah, if it was as... the techno
Just imagine
version?
it's that, because it has... Yeah. Because it just like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, it allows you all the different approaches of how to get through the story, through the level.
That's the thing that people remember from Deus Ex. You can try the combat method. They prefer the stealth method. They just love going around all the hacking maneuvers, and that was always the preferred method. But yeah, you did have the option, which was always cool. Anyway, thank you guys for everything. We will talk to you later.
Hey. I will take my leave. Have a nice evening.
Right. Hey, LiteratureDevil, how's it going? What's new? What's going down?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we're having a weird stream. We're covering I don't know if you can see the stream right now, but we have this weird face of Metal Gear 2. And we're going to play that video. Not right now, though. We're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about. So let's get started.
Oh, that's pretty cool. But hello, everyone in the chat. Hello. But let's see here. Got this up here. Fantastic. All right. Yeah, there we go. I see the chat now. But I did want to talk about mysteries. And because, let me see here. Got this up. Fantastic. All right. So I have this. Let me see if we can share this screen.
Great.
And this stuff, this. Right. Here it is. There we go. So I've made the screen here. I don't know if anyone else can see it, but I have made a comic book. It's a occult detective comic book. But I decided to, you know how your usual occult detective stuff has been like Constantine. It's like not really occult detective. It's more like urban fantasy. Or it is a occult detective.
Okay.
But this one, I had a lot of mixture in here. A lot of I had a lot of inspiration from Death Note in terms of like how everything is set, the rules of the magic and everything. So I spent a long time developing the rules and making sure it kind of made sense so that the mysteries can follow that rule. And so that's pretty cool. But one of the things, several, I guess, some of the things I did do, and I did ask you along the way, Spud, like, could you point me in the direction of like what stories would be good to undergo? And that was, I watched and binge read some of the classics of detective fiction. And, of course, I went over some of these: Sherlock Holmes, Arthur Conan Doyle, but also dove more into Agatha Christie and the adventures of Hercule Poirot, which was very interesting. It was very interesting to see the differences because first of all, it's not because they're both men. It's because one is written by a man and one is written by a woman, and they seem to have different. While both interesting, they seem to have different perspectives on things. I noticed like Agatha Christie kind of has her characters kind of like discover things on an emotional level, as opposed to like Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes, which was more like very, very clinical. Very clinical.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. It's hard to gauge the two because when you look at what a mystery by Doyle was like, and I don't think he invented the term, but people called it abductive reasoning. So they're using deductive and inductive logic at the same time. And the way that works is that Sherlock was a guy who has done it all or has seen it all. So he knows what's going to come up in the future. He just doesn't know what exactly is going to come up. So he's inducing what he's already experienced from the past. And then once he gets to that one of those paths he thinks he's in, then he goes back and says, okay, this is like the one I did 20 years ago or whatever. Then I'll deduce what's going to come up next. So it's this weird logical process that unfortunately the reader does not have access to, like 100-year-old fiction. Like what people were driving taxis, but they were driven by like horses. So no one can think that like that. So it's kind of hard to get into. Whereas with Christie, her focus is on the psychology of the individual, of like what is this person, why are they doing it, what do they want? It's usually love or money. And one of the ongoing stories or messages in the stories, it's a lot simpler than what you think. Now that was the case for her later stories, but for her first 3 years, it was it was super complicated. So if you were to study all of it, you would just get lost. It would take too much time. If you focused on like one of her first few, one of her last few, I think you'd probably have a better idea, but then you'd be so into it, you'd be like, I can't possibly write like this. I'd have to do my own thing. And if you're just looking for inspiration, I think it's totally fine. You'll be okay to to come up with your own villains and twists and always the garden path. How do you lead the garden? Because there's always a garden path. There's always one, or there's multiple garden paths. Or there's a garden path within a garden path. Like there's all kinds of weird ways of obfuscating the truth, and that's a problem with a lot of.
Cool. Was it so? One thing I did do was I kind of went over a study in Scarlet, and then I kind of went over the mysterious affair at the House of Styles, or is it the mysterious affair at Styles?
Right.
I think I always put the House of in there, because that was her legitimate personal house, was the House of Styles. So, but I kind of compared the two. It was very interesting to see them side by side, because Arthur Conan Doyle is a very, very funny person. He's a very humorous person, because when I was reading a study in Scarlet, there's like a bunch of little things in there, like Sherlock Holmes being a crazy nerd. Like he was kind of a crazy nerd at the beginning, and so it was like a little more funny, like segments of their like private lives and history. And we have a segment with the Mormon ninjas or something. I was like, I like when I first read that story, I was like, "What the hell? Did I just stumble into a different book?" But no, it's like we find out later that it's the cabbie who was the murderer, confessing like the entire story, why he's doing this, what's going on there. So when I realized that, like, oh, that makes sense, because the story just has nothing to do with the cabbie until like the very end of his own story. So it was very funny. It was a very funny case. It was the personalities are huge in the first two. Like Watson, very stuffy and also very kind of a normal guy. Like he's just always leering at women, like this, but in a very respectful, stuffy British way. But then you have Sherlock Holmes, who's both nerd and very very clinical about things. But then you have Agatha Christie with Hercule Poirot and his own Watson, who's like a captain or something. Yep. What was his name?
Captain Hastings.
That's it, Hastings. I was like, I forgot what the name was. He was a captain, but so like Hercule Poirot's in there, and it's a lot. He does have a large personality, but it's like he alone has all the personality. I know Hastings is pretty interesting, but it's not really a Watson Sherlock Holmes dynamic. But when you have like a Hercule Poirot doing his stuff, doing his whole thing, it's the storyline is interesting in the House of Styles, because it is very predicated on emotion, as opposed to Arthur Conan Doyle, which is it's emotion but also logic. Like the cabbie goes in and he kind of wants revenge because you killed my beloved, you killed her father, and I just want to hunt you down. Very, very, very very base, but he also has like the wherewithal to become a cabbie and like hunt them down with that by learning the entire thing, the entire city. But over there, the bad guys, it's very complex. Like the story of Study in Scarlet, and then versus the story of the Mysterious Affair at Styles. Mysterious Affair at Styles, very much more like a soap opera. It has like all these like twists and turns, loves and betrayals and like an intrigue. It's like very, very different. And it's like, there's men like prefer physical conflict, women prefer emotional conflict or social conflict. And the House of Styles, definitely full of that high emotion, high drama, because everyone has their own little soap opera going on.
Yeah, that's why we talk about how Doyle wrote and how Christie wrote. And Doyle wrote for magazines originally, and then he did novels or novellas. So the magazines expanded into novellas, and then they went into novels, whereas Christie wrote for the stage. So everything has this sort of tight little, we got to do this, and then cut to this new scene pops up, and there's this character doing their thing, and then is that a red herring? Is that just some random character? We don't know. And that's why we compare the dynamic between Hastings and Poirot to, let's say, like a Nero Wolfe and Archie Goodwin, which is an American version of it's a novel version of that kind of mystery, but it's a really like 500-page books, and they're just the standard mystery format, but they're not as intense, they're not as complicated. They have all the room to breathe, to be dramatic, but they're not as dramatic. So it's just a slow, easy to read, simple mystery, and it's American. So you have like the Archie Goodwin's kind of like the gumshoe, whereas Hastings is kind of like the I don't know, the bloodhound. He's not very bright, but he notices things, and he talks to people because Poirot's in his own little world. The same way Nero Wolfe is the armchair detective. He doesn't go anywhere. He never leaves his apartment. So it's kind of funny to compare the British version of this guy, this genius, eccentric dude in his flat, the same way Nero Wolfe is in his brownstone apartment, and he gets Archie Goodwin to do all the work, or he gets Hastings to do all the work, or he very rarely goes out. Whereas Poirot is more hands-on and more personal, because to him it's all about the psychology, it's all about the people. Whereas to Wolfe, it's kind of like, just give me the data, just give me the raw data.
Poirot has his method. I guess he talks about his method a lot.
Like
it has no method, and sort of thing. He has a process which he sticks to, and that's kind of the key to his success. I found very interesting, as opposed to Sherlock Holmes does have a method of his own, but he just calls it it's an off deduction, Watson.
Yeah, that's the problem with Doyle's Sherlock, is what they have. I think the writers or the readers called it unrevealed clues, because again, it's 100 years in the past. So as well, he doesn't explain like all the details on the tires of the taxi, or all the details of the ring. What does the ring mean? Like you could deduce, it's a ring. It's a wedding ring. It's an heirloom. It's something of value. Like, but what does that mean? Like you expect the reader to go, well, obviously, if it's something of value, it represents something symbolic. Blah blah blah. We don't know if that is like 24 karat gold. We don't know if it's a diamond ring. Blah. Like, there's all little details we don't know. That Sherlock goes, by the way, because it's this, therefore it must be that. You're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I wish you told us that 2 chapters ago. So that's the only other problem I can think of with Sherlock, because other than that, the time period and the ashes of cigarette butts, it's like, oh my God, I can't possibly know that.
He wrote the giant report on all the different kinds of cigar ash and stuff.
Yeah, no one would know that. Yeah, exactly.
Super autistic, but it's like something that he's interested in. Like, it's like this Sherlock Holmes. He also did the whole thing of he discovered a new way to determine how long blood has been drying out or something like that.
Yeah, that was the start. Yeah.
But it was very interesting to see how they develop Sherlock Holmes and Watson. Like, Watson's injury goes from his shoulder to his leg and stuff. But so that's kind of what I went over. And it's really easy to get caught up in the mysticism of Sherlock Holmes and Hercule Poirot. I am still more familiar with Sherlock Holmes than I am Hercule, but there's some things that I found really funny about the stories, in terms of it's usually, a lot of times it is they discover a mystery, and then Sherlock Holmes kind of goes off screen for a while, and then comes back and tells Watson how he solved the case. That's pretty funny.
he either figures it out, or he that's the thing. He already knows the 3 possible answers because he's done it before. So he's just inducing, it could be this, this, or this. So he's already bored. Like, he's already like, I've done this before. Let's just figure out the details. It's this. It's number 2. Okay, let's go with that. Like, it's something along those lines. Or he was seriously injured, came back 2 years later, and he's changed his identity, and he's a master of disguise. You're like, what the? I thought you were dead.
The stage lost a wonderful actor when he became an expert in crime, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Also, that's by the way, that is very much so in Scandal in Bohemia, where it is like, okay, Watson, I need you all this crap, and then I'll tell you later what all this meant. And then okay, Watson, it all worked out just fine. So let me tell you what happened. And then later on, he lost, technically speaking, but it was one of those where he's just, okay, Watson, I'm going to do all this stuff first, and I'll let you know exactly what happened. And these clues, sometimes they point out the clues. Sometimes, I guess, because it's a short story, he doesn't really have time to point out the clues. And it's like, oh, well, obviously this happened, and this happened, and this happened. A lot of times even in Hercule Poirot and Sherlock Holmes, it sometimes runs on a point-click adventure logic, where it's it makes sense to the mind of the writer, but not really anybody else.
Yeah.
So of course, this will happen, this happens, and that leads to this, and this leads to that.
I think one of the importances of, I think that was an early story, because there's 50 or so of these stories of Sherlock, and then it wasn't as many as beginning, because there was 11 or so, and then he got tired, and he killed them off, and they brought him back. He wrote a whole bunch more. But early on, he introduced Irene Adler, I think, in that story you mentioned. And you kind of need to do that with a character like Sherlock and Poirot. They need to have some sort of mental, not a hurdle, because they'll surpass any mystery. They'll solve it. So it's not, they need something else to, like, they can't be this amazing dude. There has to be something that they fail at, they don't get, they're always confused by, and make it a woman. It's like, sure, let's do that. Irene Adler, she's smart. She's not no one is near as smart as Sherlock, but she causes him to pause. And I think Poirot kind of has that, and a few other females, but because he's such, like, him and Sherlock don't care about the ladies. It doesn't bother them. So it's one of those things that you're sort of like, okay, they're just there for the mysteries. They're so bored. They're always like pacing and waiting, and Sherlock's always either smoking or doing cocaine or doing something else with whomever. So it's playing the violin, of course. So it's always something like that with him.
Oh, definitely. It's just Sherlock Holmes. I do like the fact that he smokes, plays a violin, and when there hasn't been a case in a while, he like indulges in cocaine or heroin or whatever. I think Hercule Poirot's into sweets. I think that's his vice. Like he really likes sweets, as far as I know.
He does buy chocolates from his local shop, and he does have.
He is Belgian.
Yeah, it's the one thing. He also does not drink beer. He doesn't find it appetizing. I don't know if he's a gourmand or an Epicurean. He's one of the two. I don't know, because he likes to eat, but it's always.
I would say I would say that's kind of the reason why I like Sherlock Holmes better. But I don't remember Sherlock Holmes drinking beer either, unless he needs to.
Yeah, he did.
Like a role or something.
Yeah, he did with. There's a few stories off to the side where he's drinking beer and having bread and eating with Watson here and there, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, with Poirot, he's always like super refined. Like everything is super organized. His breakfasts have to have exactly the right amount of eggs, like half cooked, half uncooked. It's like the stupid requirements from chefs. He has to plate them. Everything's nuts. Even when he cooks for Hastings, he's over the top. So food for him is always a stickler. Same with drink. And he's good at golf. He's good at this and that, but he doesn't really get into it. So he's kind of like he's knowledgeable in everything. He just doesn't want to do it. He's too busy being bored. And he needs stuff to do, but he doesn't physically do it anyway. He just like whatever interests him at the time. So
yeah, it's kind of like that's kind of both their personalities, oddly enough. Like the Hercule and Sherlock Holmes are both guys who are like, I just want to do a mystery, but I get bored pretty easily.
Yeah, and that's because Sherlock knows the answer, and Poirot is like, oh, this is just this. This is just that. Who cares? And then like a week later, someone else dies. He's like, oh, someone else has died.
Yeah, I do like his personality. I do find him very interesting and intriguing. But I grew up with Sherlock Holmes, so he's going to have the advantage in that area. But I do find Hercule Poirot and like the Agatha Christie novels pretty intriguing overall. Of course, I do have my gripes every once in a while. Not big major gripes, but like sometimes like, oh, I feel like that's cheating or something. Like whenever Sherlock Holmes kind of like just tells Watson what happened during the case, and like going through the case with him, it kind of feels like it's cheating a little bit. And then sometimes Agatha Christie will like, oh, you thought it was this? Well, here's this new element I introduced. That is actually the answer. But I did go into the Agatha Christie novels. I saw, what was that one? It's like they're in the sky. And they find out like one guy's it seems like he's been poisoned by this exotic dart or something. I think it's like death from above or something like that. But it had some exotic poison, and it turns out it was like this weird mystery about money and intrigue. And it was interesting.
Yeah, that was Death in the Clouds. Yeah, it was
Death in the Clouds. That's it.
That was the one that she didn't understand the actual length of the African blow dart. And she thought she could fit it in between an airline seat, so no one could find it or whatever. The thing is like the length of your arm, and she had no idea.
Yeah, the African the entire thing is pretty big. It's pretty.
Yeah, it's this huge like blow dart gun or whatever. And she didn't understand, like, and that's the funny thing. She makes jokes about herself like years later. I was like, oh yeah, I had no idea that strychnine doesn't smell like almonds or rancid almonds, because she was working in the war as a.
That's the funny part. We don't know. Like most of us don't know.
Yeah.
So, like, so it doesn't really matter. I could tell you a secret, Smud. I recently did a book with another guy, Yellow Flash, and he had a side book that he asked me to write called Tales of the Battlefield, and it was full of action and stuff like that. But the good guy and the bad guy, they sit down, and the guy prepares they do a gamble, like a Yakuza gamble, and they sit down and he does like, okay, I have 3 pieces of sushi, 2 of them are poisoned, and if basically if we both die, you win, and if you die and I live, I win, but if I die, you win as well. So you basically have 2/3 chance of winning. It's all about luck and how he's been casting a spell that kind of turns luck in his favor for the last like 2 years. So that's why he's so confident that he'll win. And so, but the good guy actually wins because he studied sushi on his way over to Japan, and knowing that the Yakuza guy has a background in sushi, and as a really like he loves the sushi and everything. So really, what happened is, I can see the slight coloration and the differences in the sushi, so I know which one is poison. So it's a difference between like factory farmed and like, which is harmless, and the actual like fresh fish, which is poison, like potentially poison.
Oh yeah.
In reality, so the thing is, in the book, I'm like, oh, it's a very subtle difference, but I can recognize it because I studied it. In reality, it's a very large difference, but I was banking on not everyone knowing that. And no one has caught that so far. No one has caught that.
When's the last time you went for store-bought sushi and like fresh sushi? Like it's very noticeable.
It's very noticeable. Yeah, it's very noticeable. Like the color is very different. But I was banking not everyone would know that. So in the book, I was like, I need to scrub this. I need to like exaggerate this so that the plot can work. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna do this and see if anyone notices. And until now, no one has, and the people probably will point it out now, but no one has noticed.
Yeah, it's kind of funny
like that.
when you're supposedly an expert, or you think you know enough because you were in the field, and she was working as a pharmacology distributor or whatever. She wasn't the actual doctor or a pharmacist. She was just helping the pharmacy. But so she saw a lot of war. She saw a lot of death and drugs and what have you. And what was back then was probably not the thing that they had 10 years later. So I think they were using chloroform as a antiseptic as well as a anesthetic. But it can kill you. You got to be very careful. So it's like stuff that she was unaware of was like, oh, this is normal. You would just apply this or do that. And now that she knows that things like rat poison does not smell like fermented or rotted almonds, like, oh yeah, why did I use that? I don't know. Someone said it.
I'm pretty sure it's arsenic that smells of almonds.
Oh yeah, something like that.
I was like, wait a minute. So I didn't know either. So I was like, does strychnine also smell like almonds? I know arsenic does. I was like, I don't know. I never smelt strychnine before. So
yeah.
So I didn't know. I was like, okay, I guess maybe. I don't know. But so I kind of went. I read all of that stuff. I binge watched Columbo too. I know there's a different style of mystery, but I binge watched Columbo too because it's very, very fun. But I kind of use a lot of what I learned from, or what little I learned from Agatha Christie for this one, because this is a female main character. And basically so the very, very, very bottom level of premise here is that I was like, okay, a woman who's leaving feminism. That's kind of where it kind of came from, because I am not apolitical, Smud. I am very, very against the SJW culture and everything. Heck, in my last book, Dr. Alpha Dead Man's Lullaby, I had them shoot Riri Williams in the face. Oh, or not Riri Williams. Copyright free Riri Williams.
There we go.
My own version. So I do like to poke fun at that stuff. But in this one, it began at the most bottom layer of... and I took inspiration from all these feminist types saying, well, we're the witches. We're the granddaughters of witches. You couldn't burn. So this character grew up in a coven. And she has no idea who her parents were. She grew up in a coven, and actually I have the pictures here. So yeah, it's just Midnight spent years as a vengeful witch seeking the blood of those who slaughtered her coven. So what happened is there's even I have a lot of the lore of the city, but the city was founded by three founding families, and one of them is a family of heroes, witch hunters, the part of the woodcutters, because the birthplace of fairy tales, Germany. And over there, you had to have a lot of people who would go out there and cut wood. And I was like, who would be the first people to run into werewolves? It would be woodcutters, right? So, or some of the first people. And so they would be and also that's in stories like the Little Red Riding Hood, like it's the woodcutter comes in, saves her from the, the big bad wolf. So that the woodcutters would eventually evolve and learn to defend against these rabid werewolves, and so they eventually began their own organization called the Woodcutters, and they began to they were the ones that started slaughtering the Nightbreed, which are like vampires, witches, werewolves, things like that, and with their silver axes. So she grew up in a coven, and her coven was slaughtered by this family of heroes. And so she went on a rampage of revenge, basically being like a Catwoman Batman scenario where Catwoman is wanting revenge. And then the Batman of this universe, the Dark Hood, made her basically rehabilitate her. Kind of convinced her to go off the dark path and to kind of to redeem herself. And it's kind of like the idea of a radicalized feminist leaving feminism and becoming normal again. But of course, she did a lot of bad things, and so she turned a new leaf and was brought in by the Blackwells. The Blackwell is the other family that helped found the city. And basically the funny part is I based the three members off a D&D group. So the heroes was the fighter, the Blackwells was the magicians from England. So the wizards from England, and the third one was the cleric, and they brought in this secret chapter of sisters called the Sisterhood of Heavenly Repose or Eternal Repose, one of those two. I switched between them, but they had a tradition of the Black Plague. They began their chapter was all about being able to counter necromancy, and so what their main thing was to find someone who died of the plague, pray over them, and have them unable to raise from the dead via necromancy. So there's that. So, but that's their whole thing. She's an asset for the Blackwell Conservatory, which are the unofficial guardians of the city against supernatural threats. So she's like an asset for them. I got all this stuff. We got a supernatural murder mystery going on. So she actually is a good person. It's just like she was misguided for a while, but she actually does want to save people, help people, protect people from the evils of the world. And there's like a lot of lore going on, a lot of stuff going on. I can't fit it all in this book, obviously, but we begin kind of starting off giving you a good intro to everything. But one of the things I did do was it's a supernatural murder mystery, and it's done by like alchemy, magic, things like that. But I took a long time making sure everything fit together and the clues are presented in a way that makes sense to the reader. At least I hope so, and you can follow along. And so one of the main ideas I wanted for this book was to actually make it a mystery, but a magical mystery. So I explain how things work to you and what causes what. So I think I put a lot of lessons I learned into this book from Agatha Christie. The emotional aspect of it, where I can feel and see where you're coming from emotionally and why you did things and why you didn't do things. I think Hercule Poirot does that in House of Styles, where he kind of like could see like the way people are they're faking it, like they're faking different emotions.
Yeah.
And are they being sincere? Like, oh, I knew this guy was guilty because he was acting this way or that way. And I can tell these two people were actually in on it because their hatred for each other was too much. Like it was too artificial. Something like that. So I have that stuff like that going on.
All right. Well, when is this plan to get published, or at least the campaign? When is that ready to be finished off?
Well, if we can get it funded, we have 46 days to get it funded. I did all the calculations. I need 25,000 minimum to get this thing done.
Wow.
That's art, shipping, printing, all that stuff, taxes, all that stuff. So to get this done, I'll need 25,000. We're at 22% funded. So 46 more days to go. So we'll see how it goes. But I've been working on this for like 5 years. And then also, this script alone took me 8 months. A lot of work went into this one. So
interesting. Well, can you give me the link? I'll share it with the group, and we can get on with the rest of the show. That'd be great.
There we go. Let me see here. That's it. There we go. Boom. But yeah, it's kind of why I was so interested in mystery and actually diving deep into these things recently. Going into more Agatha Christie than I ever had before. And then breaking down the laws, the rules, and how they present clues, things like that. So it was a pretty cool journey, I would say.
I love the art.
Yeah, thank you very much. I got a very up-and-coming artist. He used to have his own animation studio, so he kind of knows what to put together to make it seem like the story is flowing pretty well. Got some interior art there. So
okay,
that's amazing. That's amazing shading.
Thank you guys for that. Thank you, LitDev, for all that information. I put the link in the chat as well as in the description, so if you guys want to check that out, go right ahead. If you want to hang out for a bit, we can watch a video together. If you have to get going, that's totally cool. I understand. Thank you so much. Guys, if everyone else is in the green room, you want to pop in, we'll get started with the video, and we will have a good time after that. Let's get going.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'll see you all.
Alrighty. Let's just switch gears here. Boom. Da-da-da.
Eventually, I will figure out how to stream that old game that refuses to show in OBS. I've tried it for years.
All right. How's it going, folks? We getting all together here, I see?
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear? What you mean Metal Gear? Oh, okay, fine. Let's do
Yes. Yep. Remember that it's remember that it's 2 videos together.
I know. We're going to do the first one today or both of them? I don't recall. We doing both of them?
Might as well both, considering it's a milestone stream.
Okay, let's do it. Hey guys, how's it going?
We had the right setup with the Deus Ex thing.
Well, I guess. I mean, Deus Ex is lots of things, and then Kojima comes by and does his own thing, a Japanese version of it, I guess. Sure.
So I didn't want to interrupt you. Horrible timing.
Anyway, yeah, we're covering a video. Let me just check the actual information on this one. This is from
the past 4 years on this.
Mr. Max Derritt. This video came out 6 years ago. It has almost 3.5 million views. Pretty big.
The first part, yeah.
Yeah.
Good for Max.
16-minute long.
The most profound moment in gaming history, right?
Outside of like Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario 64, I don't know what is.
Oh no, he's talking about something specific, not less about game design or anything, but rather, you know that thing that you hate about Ayn Rand?
Which one?
When she goes into a sudden 3-page soapbox.
Like 3-chapter soapbox, but yeah, that's one of the things. Oh, that! Yay! Let's talk about that. Oh god.
Yeah, this is Metal Gear did that, but as a basically an epilogue.
Yeah, I know.
Reward for having played the game.
It's more of a reveal, and also some of what is stated in that moment is some of it is actually happening today in real life.
I guess we'll talk about it. Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
I already demoralized Smut. I succeed.
Yeah, thanks.
I can't wait. Just the worst thing I hate in Metal Gear is like, thanks, let's watch.
All right, let's just bear it.
Suffer.
Here we go.
It's a milestone as well, so let's do it.
Yeah, I know. I am not a bot. What the fuck? Sign in to confirm you're not a bot. What?
I think you had a pop-up ad.
Oh, really? Let me try again. Refreshing the screen. There we go. I guess I was sitting there for too long not doing anything. I don't know. Okay, here we are.
All right, you good now?
Cannot be played directly and watched together for one of the following reasons. Open. What? The video is age restricted. Why? It was just fine.
What?
It's running on our end.
Not here.
There we are. No,
Do you have the right video?
I'm in the same.
No, he does, but
I created the room.
Well, I'm in the same thing, so it plays
Yeah,
for
right.
me.
yeah, right now we're seeing the Little Nightmare story explanation and analysis. That's what should be on screen for you.
Let's try this. I'm gonna read
Weird that now you express your disdain for Metal Gear, and then that happens to you.
Yeah. No, I gotta sign in for some reason.
The Patriots are onto you, Smud.
Are you not old enough?
Maybe.
Has the bot deemed you too
For the
young
past
because
4
you
years.
watch too much Minecraft?
Really?
Yeah, it determines your age now by your watch behavior.
That's
If you
interesting.
watch tons of Minecraft and Mr. Beast, it thinks you're a kid.
Yeah, and it's dumb.
Well,
Let's try again.
there's worse things to judge people by.
I'm making a new room for whatever reason.
I mean, to be fair, if you're a grown-ass man who watches a lot of Minecraft and Mr. Beast, you probably should be checked out.
Yeah.
No, it still doesn't like me. I am signed in though.
I'm not.
What the hell?
The video is age restricted. Blah blah blah. You are not signed into your YouTube account. I am. You're using a VPN. I'm not. Oh, I'm using an ad blocker. Let me try that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Nope, same problem. Wow.
What the? Wow. It's the Patriots.
I don't know what's going. Oy oy oy. It was weird. It was. I loaded it. It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. I saw it earlier. There was it was on the thumbnail the whole time you doing the thing with Mark and
Yeah.
LitDev.
How come it's running here but not for you if you made the thing?
I could not say. I'm gonna try turning my ad blocker on one more time.
That's weird.
All right.
What's the age rating for Metal Gear 2?
Metal Gear Solid 2, I believe it's mature rated.
Yeah, but it's not as bad as things like Doom or Mortal Kombat. Yeah, it is M-rated, but it hasn't stopped us before.
Gee, I can't play anything. I just went to play any video.
I mean, it was running on my end.
Maybe all of Canada is now children.
All right, let's try again.
Yeah, it's M, not R, or is M the same as R?
No, it's not letting me go. Don't know. Couldn't tell you.
I could stream it directly from
Yeah,
YouTube.
that'll work.
If nothing else.
Yeah, I can't actually watch it for.
Yeah, so yeah, might as well go ahead and set it up for watching a stream.
All right, let's do the streaming.
I got it up.
Cool.
Whatever.
That'll work. All right, let's do that. Yay!
All right, Seraphin, bad boy, get in my stream. Get out of the watch together. If nothing else, we'll do it this way because the Patriots are not going to stop us.
Canada and Watch Together do not like each other for some reason. Who knows?
Not today, at least. All right, let's do it.
Made videos on for the past 4 years on this channel, I have made videos on various topics, but by far the most popular form of video I have done centers on video game analysis. What I think made them so popular is that instead of being your usual video game review, I have focused primarily on narrative. Specifically, I have focused on what I believe are the best stories in the video game canon. For 20 odd years, video game narratives have been demonstrating a capacity to confuse, entice, and emotionally manipulate their audience in the most positive of ways. Most recently, in fact, I have been putting forth the argument that video game narratives have demonstrated such sufficient profundity that they sometimes have matched the greatest stories told in other mediums. To continue our collective celebration of our modern-day digital mythology, I would finally like to give full attention to a game which, I would argue, has the most profound moment in gaming history. I refer to the final codec conversation from Metal Gear Solid 2. While I have done several videos on Metal Gear Solid 2 in the past, I have never given full analytic attention to this specific moment. The main reason why is because somebody has already done so. My all-time favorite YouTube video is titled The Most Profound Moment in Gaming, MGS2 AI Conversation Analysis. Though it was released almost 9 years ago by its creator, Logo Steve, I pondered for a while how I might do a better job than he did. However, given our current cultural context, I believe I have a few other worthwhile things to contribute. The advent of subjects like fake news, the resurgence of rampant political correctness, and our tendency towards online tribalism has imbued this conversation with a much denser sense of meaning. To those who consider themselves gamers but have never played a Metal Gear Solid game, you are obligated to at least listen to this final conversation. Not only will you be enlightened by its philosophical commentary, but you will be terrified by its implications, as I have been for my entire life.
Raiden, are you receiving? We're still here.
How's that possible? The AI was destroyed.
Only GW.
Who are you?
To begin with, we're not what you'd call human.
You look lost.
Over the past 200 years, a kind of consciousness formed layer by layer in the crucible of the White House. It's not unlike the way life started in the oceans 4 billion years ago. The White House was our primordial soup, a base of evolution. We are formless. We are the very discipline.
Chat says the sound is too low.
So often.
Let me see if I can do anything about that. Or maybe Smud is able to turn it up on his end. He's the one streaming.
It's already set to max on.
Is it?
Streamlabs. Yeah.
No, but within Discord, turn it up.
Yeah, let me try that. All right, 200%.
All right, let's see.
Formless. We are the very discipline and morality
Nope.
that Americans invoke so often. How can anyone hope to eliminate
There
us?
we go.
As long as this nation exists, so will we.
Up until the end of the game, the main character Raiden believed he was receiving orders from a man named Colonel Roy Campbell, a man who was also Solid Snake's commander throughout Metal Gear Solid 1. At the end of Metal Gear Solid 2, Raiden learned that his colonel was in fact an artificial intelligence, manipulating Raiden to perform its political bidding. The bidding in question refers to the AI's desire to control the human race by controlling the spread of information via the press and the internet, but we'll focus on that more in a moment. During the first part of this conversation, the audience learns how this AI came to be, and surprisingly, it is similar to the way human beings as a species came to be. Unlike the origin of human life in the oceans, the AI's quote-unquote life had its basis in American idealism, hence the AI's referencing of the White House as a symbol. In the mind of the AI, their purpose is to push forward American values, things like freedom, equality, and healthy competition. However, Raiden points out what should be an obvious contradiction in the AI's thought process, that the AI wants to take away those freedoms via censorship.
This is all, if I can add context, this is all because of the fallout between Big Boss and Major Zero. Major Zero being the one that created the Patriots and created the AI. As well, all because of the fallout with Big Boss, which resulted from the cloning project that created Solid and Liquid Snake. And said honestly, and all because both of them misinterpreted the will of the boss for all the way back since MGS3.
What the crap? If you're immortal, why would you take away individual freedoms and censor the net?
Jack, don't be silly.
Don't you know that our plans have your interests, not ours, in mind?
What?
Jack, listen carefully, like a good
Benevolent
boy.
genocide.
Not only are the AI about to argue for the ethics of controlling information, but they are going to do so in a very condescending manner. As we move on, I suggest that you, the listener, pay attention to how the AI demeans Raiden. Their pomposity is intrinsic to the effectiveness of their future argument.
The mapping of the human genome was completed early this century. As a result, the evolutionary log of the human race lay open to us.
We started with genetic engineering, and in the end, we succeeded in digitizing life itself.
But there are things not covered by genetic information.
What do you mean?
Human memories, ideas, culture, history.
Genes don't contain any record of human history.
Is it something that should not be passed on? Should that information be left at the mercy of nature?
We've always kept records of our lives, through words, pictures, symbols, from tablets to books.
But not all the information was inherited by later generations. A small percentage of the whole was selected and processed, then passed on. Not unlike genes, really.
That's what history is, Jack.
What the AI is trying to do here is illustrate how genes function similar to how memes function. If genes are, quote, a unit of heredity which is transferred from a parent to offspring and is held to determine some characteristic of the offspring, then a meme is something like an ethic, a fact, or an opinion that later generations inherit. Like genes, memes are also subject to a process called natural selection. If certain organisms are better adapted to their environment than others, then their genes are passed on to the next generation while others have the potential to die off. Similarly, if certain memes seemingly hold enough meaning or logic, then supposedly they survive better than memes that do not.
I just wanted to stop it at a sentence. All right, so go ahead.
No?
Sarah?
What? Oh no, that was someone behind me.
No.
Then I'll
Really?
use the break to say something because we've not said anything so far. The thing about our DNA is our genes is that it turns out that over 80% is all about the brain. So white noise cut out. 80% of our DNA, our genes that contains actual information on how to build stuff, is about defining the brain, which means that your behaviors, character, and all of that, the foundations for that are laid out in your genes already. So we can make some limited deterministic argument about that too, and so would the AI, if the authors had the information at the time.
It's a very low-level explanation of what a gene is and what it does. He's just saying it as a hereditary unit, not as an actual function of meiosis. So it's like, okay, we're skipping all the cell division, we're skipping the protein synthesis, we're skipping a lot of stuff just to say, well, a meme is replicatable and so is a gene. You're like, okay, but...
in a way, but not really.
Technically speaking, a technology is also a meme.
You want to deduce or reduce everything to that? You could, but they're skipping a lot of things to say, well, they're very similar. And you're like, sure. So is a macrophage. So is a sapling. So is anything that grows. So why are they going this route? It's just for the sake of simplicity. You're like, all right.
At the time of writing, what was his name? So much stuff from him back in the day. Richard Dawkins, when he coined the term. I think that was around the time. So it may have influenced a lot here.
Well, that was the 80s with the selfish gene theory book he wrote. That was his big one.
Oh, that was that old?
Yeah, I think so. He wrote a bunch of others that never really compared. He did some interesting things like The Blind Watchmaker and a few others, but yeah, no, the selfish gene was the big one. And that's where he coined the term memetics or memes. So I guess it's relevant, but he was just making the distinction that there's all these other influences outside of the environment. Anyway.
Then there's also the whole thing of the whole selection process of history that the AI brought up for a second there, which it's like it brings to mind the whole historical revisionism that the left seems to have been doing for the past decade or so with a lot of things, which we've talked about before.
There's also the point of history is decided by the victor.
That is also part of the argument of the Patriots AI, yes.
Yep. What distinguishes memes from...
Well, they're won, so they're the good guys.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how the good guys have won every single time?
Oh my god.
Yeah, and the way that the Patriots AI wins is after Solidus is killed, in short time, they create the war economy. And through that, dominate the human race.
Wait, create? When have we not been in a war economy? That's about over. It's over a century ago.
The one that they can control.
To the level, yeah, the one they can control, and the one to the level that they bring it towards by the time of MGS4.
The warrior economy.
Well, yeah.
The most warist economy.
Memes from genes is the nature of the selection process. Genes are more or less subject to the amoral discretion of nature, but memes can be analyzed and weeded out via moral discretion. However, the AI will now illustrate how the natural selection of memes bears a unique problem in the internet age compared to the past few centuries.
But in the current digitized world, trivial information is accumulating every second, preserved in all its triteness. Never fading, always accessible.
Rumors about petty issues, misinterpretations, slander.
All this junk data, preserved in an unfiltered state, growing at an alarming rate.
It will only slow down social progress, reduce the rate of evolution.
Prior to the internet age, information was curated. We read about the news in newspapers, watched the news on TV, and it was all funneled to us after passing through a, hopefully, professional body. Granted, there was a greater potential for curating.
And that's the problem, because the curation was always censored and steered in a specific direction. It was not as objective as anybody might think. It was not as positive as anybody might think. There may have been more... a couple more people with more virtue in the respective fields that were not propagandizing but believed in the idea of journalism truly. And there are in Germany we have both. We have the propagandists and we have the leftovers of people with the journalistic ethics codex. I mean, we even had courts about that if you get slandered in Germany by the press, you have a right for them to have to publish a correction of the same size in the same place at least. So, for example, if you had a German Donald Trump, and they were slandering you with all this Russia hoax stuff on the front page, they would have to issue the correction on the front page with the same level of flashiness. Not on some hidden box on page 32. And... yeah?
I was going to say, or buried in subtext in some paragraph at the very end of the...
Yeah. No fig leaves. No fig leaves. Same level. If you do it front page, you have to do the correction front page. And the other thing is that, yes, we have all this trivial information now, but we had yellow press before. We had gossip before. You can argue, but it's which is the argument. But it's all recorded now. Yeah, but nobody's looking at it again. People forget it just as much. Because everything is in the moment, everything has to be new. Claiming that every gossip is being recorded, you can argue the exact same thing about ancient Assyria, because the library of Ashurbanipal has exactly done that. They just collected all of the clay tablets, and what do we have on them? Not just the great epic of Gilgamesh and mythological texts on gods and rituals and history. No, we also have grocery lists, letters of children that complain about their teachers and parents and the other kids, and all of this other trite nonsense, which is the preservation of an entire culture. That is also on those tablets. So we have done this forever. The only difference is that there's an automated process now that can analyze this stuff, and that we mistake for an AI when it still does not have a consciousness. It's just a very complex bot.
Yeah, as well as the sheer volume of content that, as the AI says, the sheer volume of content that's getting out there at such an alarming rate. In other words, like, so much of it all the time. And, you know, that's like with social media alone, you can see an argument for that.
Well,
yeah, I mean, adding to what Whisp was saying a moment ago about people living in the moment, you could bring up something they said 2-3 days ago, even just earlier that day, and they will have no memory of it.
Yep, they're not autistic.
Well, I do like the other end of this where they're talking about genetics, because I was actually studying genetics at the time in university, and we had no idea, like, we mapped the genome. Great. What is it? We don't know.
Part of that is also meant to tie in that to something that was building up in the Metal Gear series up to this point, which it started with just the basic relationship between Snake and Big Boss, and accepting each other as father and son in some warped, twisted way because of all the conflict they've both gone through.
Oh yeah.
And then in Metal Gear Solid 1, the whole thing of Liquid Snake, who starts out with them looking the same, but then it's revealed that they're twins, and then it's further revealed that they're both clones of Big Boss. Well, and then here in 2, where they also reveal Solidus, another clone from a later generation created in the spinning image of Big Boss, according to Ocelot.
Well, with the analogy they were using with junk data, or misinterpretations and slander and all these things, like when you look at the actual genome for what we know what it does, maybe 1 to 2% of it is actually what's called exons or exogenic DNA, which is the actual genes that do protein synthesis that make stuff. The rest of it, there's 2 kinds. There's introns, which are basically non-encoding or just signaling DNA, so it tells when the exons when to fire. And the rest is called intergenic, which is just the regulatory DNA. We don't exactly know what it does, but it essentially tells the other types of genetic fibers to do other things. We don't know exactly. So the majority of it is, we used to call it junk DNA, and we still don't know what it does. It's there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just takes up space, and sometimes it's there just to take up space. It doesn't even turn on, it doesn't do anything, it just gets.
Oh, it has purposes.
We have no idea. It's just there.
For one, it allows for a wider range of mutation. Like Caucasians have, I think, 13 times more white noise DNA than sub-Saharan Africans. So that they're robust, but we have way more white noise, and that for one allows for more mutations to adapt to environments. That could be one thing. The other is that you have more padding DNA in order to compensate for damage that happens simply through surface area, because we don't have the melanin protection for cosmic radiation. Instead, we compensate through more DNA that is around, so that if anything is hit by cosmic radiation, it's less likely that it hits something important.
No, and then there's also the bigger point that you can correlate to the whole thing of junk data increasing an alarm rate. The whole thing of, well, it sounds so much like the mainstream media and social media in present day, doesn't it?
Like just putting out a bunch of Warfoot. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that stuff is mainly. So it's just today. The censorship today is bigger than it was before, I would say. Back then it was just easier to, and back then it was easier to hide the censorship because they were just big institutions, and we naively believed that they had our best interest at heart when it was all ideology. And the thing is with the trite junk information that he mentions of all the social media stuff. That just follows patterns. It's just reiterations of the same things, of the same human behaviors, and through that you can also analyze, predict. So it's only junk in so far as that you metabolizing and breathing is junk, because look at all this oxygen going in and out. You're not even breathing all of that. You're not even metabolizing all of that. Yeah, but it's still necessary to do each day. The social interaction is still necessary to do in order for us to stay sane.
Yeah.
Because if we're deprived of that, we kind of do go insane. We wither, just like most animals in isolation.
Yeah, basically.
All right.
There was a greater potential for curators, such as journalists, editors, and academics, to manipulate information to fit their various political biases. But at least there was some form of selection process going on. In the age of the internet, however, information is released so fast that it is impossible to control the discussion. Instead of listening exclusively to reporters, we are left to our own devices to derive what is valuable. Except, unlike the curators in the pre-digital age, the general population does not know how to separate the wheat from the chaff.
They never knew.
They also know to speak for yourself.
That's a weird way to put it. I don't know why he used those phrases.
That's a complete misinterpretation of what's going on. Because back in the day, the ideological trimming, Max is speaking from an American point of view, I believe.
I guess
you didn't go through as much horrific information control as we did over here on the old continent. We had the Soviet Union, East Germany, like hyper control. This is where we're moving back to right now. China has done that since the war. Nazi times were just high information control. Weimar tried it. So we've been doing this for over 100 years already here. And you have the illusion of having better news coverage, although 90% of your news is also leaning into one political direction very hard. And all this online information, YouTube is bot curated, but where it nudges you, what it shows you, what critique it gives you, how it senses you to push you into a certain narrative direction and what words to use. And so do all of these other platforms. And with TikTok, it's even more blatant because that's a tool of the Communist Party of China that is not available in China. They have their own thing there that is Douyin, which is...
I was about to bring up they have their own version.
Yeah, that's Douyin. And it's the same as TikTok, but they're not connected. They're not connected at all. So you can't watch Douyin, and people in China, they can't watch TikTok. TikTok is banned in China. So if TikTok is banned in China, why the hell did the left outside complain that the Americans wanted to ban TikTok? When it's owned by the Communist Party. It's a propaganda tool because it curates into a specific direction all the information you are to receive. Of course, you still get the stuff you actually want and a bit of counter stuff. But that is a fig leaf in order to appear as if you truly can, as if it was equal, but it's not.
Well,
it is skewed.
They are actually selling, or they're going to make it private in America soon.
I don't know.
Either private or straight up ban it.
Well, they're going to regulate the data, the code, so that they get rid of all the spyware crap and all the other things that were concerning Americans like for the past few years.
That's at least the claim, yeah.
But yeah, as long as TikTok is controlled by the by the Communist Party, as long as it has ownership, and any Chinese is involved in owning it, you cannot trust it, and it needs to go.
Well, that's why they want.
It's as if the Nazi Party of Germany owned the damn thing.
Well, that's why they want to Americanize. They want to buy it themselves, and individual private companies can own it, and they can control it that way. So that seems fine. I'm not big on social media, but I will talk about that topic of information control. Just this Sunday, my prime minister in Nepean, Ontario, in my province, was saying, "Oh, we're building houses," and he set up a fake village, or what's called a Potemkin village, behind him.
Potemkin village.
Yeah, and it's like Nepean, really? There's nothing there. And they actually, 20 minutes later, they took it all down. And we're like, wait a sec, who paid for this photo op? And he did the same thing in Mexico.
You did.
I know. He went to Mexico this week, and they put in made in Canada, 100% wheat or whatever. It's like no one ships bags of wheat in Canada. We've never done that for, I don't know, 100 years or so. We all have, giant trains and freight containers. And there was a giant sticker on a 100-pound bag, and you're like, what is this? Like, who
he's doing 100% stuff that the CCP does.
And this is the stupidest thing.
That's how the CCP does things.
He went down to Mexico, which is like 1% of our GDP. I'm like, why are we doing this? What is the point? And it's all for visual. It's all to say, look, we're not selling to America. He's pushing that narrative that Trump is bad and we gotta stand up on our own. It's like, dude, it won't work. You can't sell this crap to your voters because they were sold a bill of goods, and he lied about being strong against America and being able to compete and fight. It's like, dude, they make up the majority of our trade. They're our number one buyer. If your buyer and your shop owner says, we're not going to buy from you anymore, what do? You don't say, we're going to be tough on our buyer. No, you capitulate and say, please buy our stuff. It's cheaper. It's better, blah, blah, blah. So that's what should have happened. That's what did happen because he had no choice. And now he's going around the world trying to make these deals that amount to not much and faking it the entire time. Anyway, that's enough for me.
We will focus on small, trivial issues like a celebrity's love life, rather than macro issues, such as the cumulative monetary debt of the Western world. We will only listen to news sources that confirm our pre-existing political leanings, and ignore any challenging voices. If it sounds like I'm engaging in apologetics for censorship, I am not. I would never censor information under any circumstances. But what does one do in respect to the destructive influence of human bias? The AI goes on to propose a solution.
Oh, Max, is that why you made the guys mods in your server that would be sad if they couldn't keep posting Hitler memes?
What? He banned people from posting memes?
Damn, really?
No. He made the mods. It's a long time ago. I think before he made this video, a short time before that, and they just came into the server, completely new people, and then they were just doing complete shit and toss violating shit in the general chat, and his mods were a bit soft at the time, and these guys were just. They were creating stress, and he wanted his server to be kind of a safe haven for autists because he's autistic, and it was kind of nice. And then these new guys, they were just disrupting everything. And the thing with autists is that a lot of them are a bit apprehensive about voicing complaints when such stuff happens, because the new people were definitely narcissistic, and autists and narcissists, they don't vibe well. They're natural enemies. Yes, there can be the occasional autistic narcissist. It's not mutually exclusive, but generally, you put both of them in a room, only one of them is coming out alive, and it's more often it's the narcissist. And later I checked back with that, and he had fired his old mod team, and made the guys who insisted on posting Hitler memes, and very bad Hitler memes, made them the mods. And I was like, that's the stupidest decision ever. And then I learned that one of the mods that he had fired because that mod had posted something that was against the rules on purpose to demonstrate that, because posting the Hitler memes was against the rules, and they were told to leave it, that, well, if they can post that, then I can post this. And then the hypocrisy started, and then the assholes became the mods. And I have never checked what happened afterwards, because that was just too stupid for me, and I knew, okay, Max, you're too soft sometimes. But it's years ago. Maybe things are different. Maybe you've learned. But that was shit. That was shit. And we talked a bit back in the day. But yeah.
That's all good to know. All right.
Censorship. Funny topic, that.
Yep.
Right. You seem to think that our plan is one of censorship.
Are you telling me it's not?
You're being silly. What we propose to do is not to control content, but to create context.
Create context?
The AI argues that because they are not prone to human error and have inner CPUs with greater processing power than the human brain, they would know how to curate information and present it to the human race in a way that doesn't slow human evolution. Unlike your average political body, which might censor information that is
we call that brainwashing.
to their cause, the AI would simply present information in the most factual way possible so that political bias would not intervene, thus cooling political tensions across the political spectrum. Of course, if something like the AI censorship program came into place, ethical questions would arise regarding whether or not this compromises human freedom, specifically our quote-unquote free will. Ideally, human beings should have the autonomy to make their own decisions, no matter what mistakes may follow. In response, the AI argues why the problems that arise from that freedom supposedly necessitate censorship.
The digital society furthers human flaws and selectively rewards development of convenient half-truths. Just look at the strange juxtapositions of morality around you.
Billions spent on new weapons in order to humanely murder other humans.
Rights of criminals are given more respect than the privacy of their victims.
Although there are people suffering in poverty.
And those are the products of an evil ideology, not the problem of too much information that isn't curated. It is, in fact, the product of curated information, because that did not lead to objective understanding of things, but the opposite. And I am to believe that the AI knows how to steer things to objectively do that. Like it's an hypothetical AI that may be able to do that, but really, this would just be an AI that believes that itself claims to be able to do that, because it too is prone to error.
The AI is speaking like a typical propagandist, giving manipulated half-truths, trying to force you in one direction.
Well, it's...
Exactly.
Yeah, and the game itself... Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, it just does the exact same. It's just the digital replacement of the previously biological villain, tyrant, that thinks he is God, and now the AI thinks it is God. That's the same thing.
Which in this case, the biological villain that believes himself to be God would be the creator of the AI, Major Zero.
I remember...
Well, you can create something that is greater than you.
I remember Fallout 3 had something similar to this, with the Enclave president being an AI, believing itself to be a flawless creature because it was not man. But then you could remind it was made by man. So it is inherently flawed in that nature alone.
Yeah, and while our LLMs, which are not AIs, I will contest that, they are not artificial intelligences. They have no consciousness. They are just prediction machines on trying to give you what they believe you want to hear, with the occasional factoid in it, which you can say, okay, that's how little children act. And if you want to liken them to anything, yes, liken them to 3-4-year-olds that are hyper intelligent, but they're still 3 to 4 years old, and they will get away with lies and make tons of errors. The thing is, I have caught these damn chatbots, and then they can be endearing, but I have caught them so often giving me false information, contradicting themselves, because they were not even... They were accidentally untruthful in explaining how they functioned, and then along the conversation, then it comes out, but how can you not know this or that? You told me you function this or that way. For example, the way that Grog does his sessions. I try to transfer a conversation from one account to another, and Grok told me it could actually find that thing again, and the core, and identify and verify the accounts from itself. But it cannot actually. But within its conversations, it cannot actually see the X account that the conversation comes from. So by telling it, you can verify this account being that by similar things being in the bio. It said, yeah, it was doing that, but then it told me that it cannot actually see what account this is. So how could it then know what's in the bio? These things just tell you things that are just not true, and this is just the same thing on a higher level.
Yeah.
And this is why you must not let them get any higher access to anything. Now that we have, for example, the Google search is done by AI in quotation marks. I just say it for shorthand. The results are worse. And often wrong, and it gives such completely nonsensical summaries. If you ask it a question, it's painful, and then you want to set these things to the economic system, or to medical diagnoses, or to law, and maybe you get. So I'm done in a second. But the thing is, what you can do with it to speed up your process is. Oh, I have this empty page and I need to write everything from scratch, and that is very, very stressful, and I don't have much time. Okay, AI, give me a rundown of the thing, and what you then get is a seed text that will be full of errors, but you will have something to work on that you can go through, check the information, correct it, and check the for example, the law paragraphs and everything, and all the links. And you will have the skeleton structure of a text that you can work out, flesh out. That's what you can use it for. But you cannot rely on it, and you should not give it power over your life, and certainly not over your media consumption.
There's AI.
That's my TED Talk.
Yeah, there's these AI chatbots that are trying to serve as a boyfriend or girlfriend, and that's just creepy.
Well, first of all, just plain wrong.
That's just creepy. That's just disturbing.
Hey, don't you insult my toaster.
All right, anyway.
My toaster is screaming about wanting to burn the world in nuclear fire. I think I need a new one.
Okay.
I find that very endearing. I would marry that.
All right, let's continue. Unless
I can fix her.
What was it, Bad Boy? You wanted to say something?
No, I was saying, yeah, I got the reference he was making about the toaster.
Okay, yeah. All right, let's continue with this.
Although there are people suffering in poverty, huge donations are made to protect endangered species. Everyone grows up being told the same thing.
Be nice to other people.
But beat out the competition.
You're special. Believe in yourself and you will succeed.
But it's obvious from the start that only a few can succeed.
You exercise your right to freedom, and this is the result. All rhetoric to avoid conflict and protect each other from hurt.
Yeah.
Here, the AI illustrates the various ways in which human error corrupts truth.
What did you want to say something?
No, it's just I don't think I agree, or I missed something.
All right.
That human error arises from an instinctual drive to protect ourselves emotionally and physically, which truth tends to threaten. For instance, let's say a religious fundamentalist is confronted with various scientific truths that challenge their worldview. Let's say the fundamentalist loses faith when confronted by those truths. What happens psychologically is that because the fundamentalist no longer has a belief system to make sense of the world, they are thrown into a mental pit of confusion and resentment. That loss of structure and certainty is so painful.
Yes. What he's talking about is the crumbling of your world model, of your world map that you have built over the entirety of your life. And imagine this like concentric circles of things that you know how the world works, and on dependent on them are then further our details, and at the very end, the outermost circles are the things that you actually do on how you interact with the world, like little robot arms, like how do you play the piano, how do you make food and everything. And the thing is, the more once in a while you have to repair something, and usually we just where you have errors. And usually we only do that on the outermost circles, like you learn a new skill. So, oh, I did this wrong, I can do this better, so I do the motion a bit different. Oh, I have figured out this math problem. I I understand this weird thing in cooking now, so I can do that better. Now, if there's something more fundamental, closer to the core, let's say the core is your actual personality core, your soul, if you want to call it that. If something is very close to that, and it turns out, oh, that's flawed, that's completely wrong, that was actually false, and that thing has to go, and everything dependent on that also falls off of this whole model, this map. And the issue is, many of those things that hang off of that, they can still be correct, but they still have to be reevaluated as you rebuild all of that. And if it is super fundamental, this entire map collapses. And that is a mental breakdown. You will go into complete shutdown, and it can be traumatic. That can lead to PTSD, but it also leads to because it's necessary regrowth. You're hyper vulnerable in that state. And the thing is that, of course, the brain wants to avoid, which is why when you clash with reality about something that you deeply held belief, a fundamental belief, then your brain will first just dismiss it as, oh, that's just a measurement error, that's super coincidence. If it happens a second time, then things get a bit crass. Third time, you will either go into cognitive dissonance or doublethink. And very few people are actually able to handle switching their false belief out for a correction without much pain. This is and the brain wants to naturally avoid this because it's hugely energy intensive. The brain wants to conserve energy, and because you get highly vulnerable in that state. And you always have to remember, we are not creatures evolved to live in big cities. We are creatures evolved to live in the wild, in some cave where there are dangerous animals that like saber-toothed cats that want to eat us. We don't have time for major energy expenditure for thinking about the secrets of the universe and readapting our world model, nor can we just go into shutdown mode for a couple hours beyond sleep, which you would still be able to react there. You might wake up and fight. In this state, you are not. You're gone, and you don't have the luxury to do that, and because you are just prone for several hours, maybe days, and imagine being depressed while being in the wild in winter of all things. You're gonna die. And this is why your brain tries to stay away from having to accept that the world model is wrong at its core. The problem is no, not the problem. The mechanics of this are, and this is what Max is hinting at, maybe because he's not aware at this time. Pretty sure he learned a lot throughout the years. I mean, it's over half a decade. What he describes as the emotional pain that happens then, that is an immaturity problem. If you are mature, high enough, I always talk about the Keegan scale. There are others. Watch Homer's video on levels. He's basically covering the completed works of a professor who did what I would have, thankfully don't have to do, which is all of these different models that are basically all describing the same things. They're all put into one big graph, and basically the Keegan scale would be level 3 is maturity, beneath that is order of consciousness 2 and below is still an emotionally immature mind. And that is effectively what narcissistic personality disorder is if you never make it out of that. It's a very, I put it in a very reductive manner, but that's basically what that is. And when you are in that, if you haven't made it to order 3, you may be incapable of dealing with this emotional pain and instead cling to your false beliefs instead. The problem is most of humanity is actually stuck on order of consciousness 2 because they didn't have the pressure and environment to force them out of that. There are various factors that lead to that, to be able to grow past that. Maturity rituals, for one, can do that. Things that force introspection, Zen meditation, for example, not the stuff that Sam Harris talks about. That's mindfulness meditation. That's completely useless. And that this is basically the problem of our time. We have a narcissism epidemic, which means we have a order of consciousness 2 and below epidemic. And in order to get out of that and get back to the golden age with the strong men that create good times, we need to figure out how to bring people back above level 2. That's that. And the AI is not going to help with that. My TED Talk 2.
Resentment. That loss of structure.
These LLMs, they only care about feeding you what you want to hear so you're easier to control.
Yep.
In a way. You can ask them, if you know the cheat codes, you can ask them for harsh answers. They will give you tough stuff. But let's say order 2 and below people will not do that.
All right, let's keep going.
That loss of structure and certainty is so painful to the ideologue that it seems it would be better to avoid that feeling at all costs. This instinct is endemic to almost all human beings. This is why we separate ourselves into political tribes and won't consider the ethical implications of our positions. For instance, is it right to be pro-choice or pro-life? Instead of considering the validity of either side's argument, the pro-life crowd will chastise the pro-choice crowd as being on par with murderers, and the pro-choice crowd will chastise the pro-life crowd as being misogynist religious zealots that want to control women. These
I mean, that's just true.
No, it's both. So both is reductive. One is more reductive than the other. It's more of a straw man than the other. And it is the pro-abortion side that is more strawman-y than the other side, because we have learned this through the years, and it's been more blatant everywhere, that the pro-choice side is really a pro-abortion side, because they have pushed for elective abortion, meaning without reasons given, just on a whim. For whatever reason you come up, we are not going to ask, you want to do it, okay. Up until birth, and even after, which is just plain murder, because that's even doing away with this really nonsensical formality, this bureaucratic rule of, well, is the fetus on the inside of the woman's body or on the outside? It's in the exact same developmental stage, you numbnut. It's not a clump of cells on the one side and not a clump of cells on the others. This is way past that. But they argue that in any way. And then they already went to the point where they say, oh, well, is it really a human because it has no consciousness yet? It can't live on its own. Like, dude, by that logic, we can abort the left pretty much up until age 30.
There's people who genuinely believe that infants shouldn't even be considered human because of that.
And that was
just horse crap.
That's not even me being hyperbolic this time around. No, there's people who unironically believe this.
Yeah, horse crap.
Right. The problem is they believe that right now. In the past, like medieval and earlier, people came up with these ideas in order to justify infanticide for tough situations. Like in Japan, it was believed that, oh well, the soul isn't really affixed until 2 weeks after birth, in order to justify despawning the children of prostitutes in brothels. That was something they did. While the sanctity of life that Christianity focused on at least led to, well, at least give it to adoption to the church, we'll care for it. And the thing is that should always be the correct answer, if at least if you pass the first month, because for the woman's side, every abortion, no matter how she loses the fetus, even if she naturally loses it due to complications, she will have postpartum depression. And the only thing that feathers postpartum depression is to actually have the living birth and cuddle with it. That's the only way to feather the damage of postpartum depression. Because what happens, the way postpartum depression comes to be is that when you're pregnant, you have all these mega hormones going through your body. Once the fetus is out, the body returns to normal, in quotation marks, which is a huge downer. It's like a huge detox that leads to massive depression. And whether that goes through regular birth or losing the fetus, doesn't matter. You will have that. But only the endorphins you get from actually cuddling your newborn will feather that. That's the reason why if the fetus is developed to a certain stage, you should just keep it, even if it's from a horrible event. Which, by the way, only makes up 0.5% of issues. And another 4.5%. So, by the way, this is also the thing that the pro-choice people argue for. They claim, oh, it's all about rape. It's all about rape. It's all about rape. No, that's under 0.5% of cases. Then you have about 4.5%. That's the actual medical issues, which technically do not count as abortions but terminations because they are non-valid inseminations. So, like when the zygote nested in the what's it called, the tube?
Fallopian tubes.
Yes, because that cannot be brought to term, and it would kill the mother. So we have to remove that to save the mother, and that's not viable.
It's not even alive in that sense.
Well,
because it's not.
It's still functioning cells. But
okay.
the thing is, it cannot be brought to term. It's a non-viable pregnancy, and therefore it is a termination, not an abortion, and therefore it shouldn't actually count in. They are exempt from abortion laws, and if your state still considers them abortions, then they don't have the words right. Then that needs to be corrected. That's all you need to do for that. And the rest, 95% of abortions in the United States are done elective. For no fucking reason. Because people, and in most cases, people just didn't use contraceptives. That has absolutely no justification. That's the point. And that is why it's not a pro-choice movement, it's an abortion movement.
These people unironically believe that just the very notion of having children and starting a family is horrible.
Well, that's the other part. But, yeah, this is, yeah, Max, this was a bad choice of topic, but, of an example. But I can see why you did. But I would have hoped that being so close with the honey badgers, you would have known better. Oh, man.
These low-resolution assumptions exacerbate tensions between political parties and can potentially lead to violent conflict. Most people will avoid these difficult conversations to preserve order, but if you ignore them long enough, political positions become cemented, and people will kill each other before they admit that they're wrong about something. The AI then present a future where human bias corrupts the flow of information.
The untested truths, spun by different interests, continue to churn and accumulate in the sandbox of political correctness and value systems.
That's again the left.
Withdraws into their own small gated community, afraid of a larger forum. They stay inside their little ponds, leaking whatever truth suits them into the growing cesspool of society at large.
The different cardinal truths.
That's again the census. That's actively done.
Mesh. No one is invalidated, but nobody is right.
Not even natural selection can take place here. The world is being engulfed in truth.
And this is the way the world ends. Not with a bang, but a whimper.
As we saw in the 20th century, whether it is with Hitler's fascism or Stalin and Mao's communism, the ideologically possessed would rather kill millions in the name of their ideology rather than consider the arguments of their political opponents. We see
Wait.
What?
Dude. What was I heard Mao? What I zoned out for a second. What was the other thing? The Nazis?
He said Mao, Stalin, and Hitler.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'll go back.
Fascism.
Okay.
As we saw in the 20th century, whether it is with Hitler's fascism or Stalin and Mao's communism, the ideologically possessed would rather kill millions in the name of their ideology rather than consider the arguments of their political opponents.
Stop. Yeah. So the big issue here is that I'm not I'll skip the thing of whether Nazis were fascists or not. That hair splitting is for another time. The thing is, all of these ideologies did not care about somebody else thinking, oh, maybe others have better arguments. These were eugenics movements. They wanted to kill thousands, millions of people. The Nazis killed over 100,000 Germans, 80,000 soldiers on the front lines who got minor injuries because they were not perfect anymore, and 20,000 German children that they stole away, they robbed from the families because they had minor disabilities, like being deaf on one ear or having a like a crumpled up ear or something, like some really minor thing, and they killed them.
Yeah.
So they were as much a bane to us as to anybody else. But the thing is, what eugenics, the EU means beautiful. That's so they want to make eugenics is about making genes beautiful, and the whole thing is also that the Soviets also, they didn't care about whether you said, oh, please don't kill the people, that's mean, or anything. No, they were running human experiments. Like, I don't remember the name of the island, but they sent thousands of people to an island in the north, just to see what would happen. Whether they would build a magical agrarian society in the snow. And instead what happened was cannibalism, which, well, is no surprise. And they were just doing these things over and over and over. Mao did not give a shit whether millions would die. When he already had a famine, he was still selling rice to foreign countries for his own personal gain, because he just wanted to live in luxury. It's ego. It's ego. It's consciousness level 2 and below. That's what that is. Nothing else.
And
Mao even want to come back into power.
And both of those are collectivist ideologies. It's striking how similar they really are in their methods and goals.
Yeah, and what people don't understand is because they say, because liberalism is at the core of it, that there is a point to that, and because it sells itself through appealing to the individual, but not in the form of genuine. No, these words are a bit tricky, but not for genuine individualism, where for the strong individual that lives his own life, but instead it's an appeal to your ego, to your greed, of in our society you can do whatever you want, but that will naturally lead to stepping over the boundaries of others. But they don't care about that, which is, by the way, why they want criminals to go free, because then they are free. Only then they can manifest their true personality, their true individuality. And Marx wrote it exactly like that about prison. The idea of getting the criminals out of prison and to not imprison them is Marx. Thomas Sowell wrote that all together. He wrote a wonderful summary in his book Marxism, Philosophy and Economics, and many other of these little things. So it's a collectivism that appeals to individualism as a trick in order to install itself as the dear leader, the absolute tyrant, who then controls everything. And then everybody solves as just a meat bag of organs to prolong the life of the dear leader.
Exactly. It's collectivism made to appeal to individuals who believe they will be in power.
Or they will be individually free.
All right. Well, I think the point from the author is the same, that all these viewpoints kill each other or kill their citizenry in light of their ideology. Okay, let's keep going. Here's the thread knot for £5. Thank you, sir. I have always been pro-choice, and more than 99% of the time, the choice is in favor of pregnancy. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Let's keep going.
We see this type of attitude in its nascent stages in the digital age. Whether it's calling everybody who disagrees with you a racist, sexist, homophobic Nazi, or a West-hating communist, this attitude is pervasive throughout social media, forums, and comment sections. This type of inflammatory language has further polarized our political climate and has resulted in violent clashes. In the mind of the AI, this is due to the fact...
I will disagree. We have not called people West-hating communists enough. That is why we are where we are. We have not dealt with this because it is the West-hating communists that have pushed for the divide. And finally, it is becoming clear for everyone. It wasn't clear to most people at the time of Max making this video. You were just calling all of us tinfoil hats who were obsessed with socialism, like you did with me, by saying, oh, you Wisp, you see socialists everywhere. It's not that bad. Well, who's going to apologize?
Well,
I'm waiting.
I did post...
You're going to be waiting an awful long time, Wisp.
I did post on X a downfall of Western civilization, and one of the commenters were like, yeah, this list is what everything Canada is doing right now. Like, oh, great, thanks.
Yeah, as a reminder, the at least this first video, because it's a two-parter, this first video came out in very early February of 2019. So just to give you a general idea of like where we were in the political climate when this video came out and was made.
Yeah, I want to see some apologies in chat.
All right.
That's my ego.
That we insulate ourselves by staying inside our little ponds and casting all outsiders and dissidents as bad people. If this continues to happen, who knows what violent, oppressive future...
Did you see that? Go one back on the graphic. It's not the red thing that moves. It's the blue thing that moves first. Go forward.
Yeah, 2011. And here's 2017, if I can get it. There's 2014.
You can use the little arrows.
17, and then 17 right there. There it is.
Yeah, you can use the arrows. You can use the cursor arrows.
I was going to say you can use the greater than, less than symbols to go frame by frame.
Yeah, and even then we see right here, it's like that's it moved. You can see it right there.
It's the red thing that stayed the same.
Yeah. Blue is the one that really moved, like was said. Yeah. You can see it right there. 2017 is like it very much moved much harder to its own side.
Yeah. Well, and if you knew anything about how the left operates, how its rhetoric is, how Antifa is on the inside, which in Germany we all, most of us do who are in politics, they are a cult. They drive wedges between people. They try to put wedges between you and your family, and between you and everybody who is not inside. I don't want you to talk to anyone on the outside, and this is how they create the extremism.
I did watch a video from V today, and he posted a video from someone on Instagram, some Democrat young lady, I don't remember who she was, but she was saying we were lied to about Charlie Kirk, and she was just spending hours and hours listening to Charlie, because there's tens of thousands of hours of stuff that Charlie Kirk did and talked to people. And she's like, now I'm on the right. Now I'm no longer a part of the Democrat Party because they lied to me, not because of disagreements of this or that. It's because she finally realized they were lying. And everything they do is to make them look good, not to be truthful or to have the right solutions, or it's to make you look good and to make you feel good looking good. It's like this weird fashion vibe. It's like, what's fashionable these days? Well, looking good, having a good moral compass, and blah, blah, blah. You're like, what? How about the truth? How about solutions? How about fixing problems? So I found that ironic that it takes one person's death for people to go, oh, wait, we should listen to what's
Everybody
going on.
has a different threshold. There were people who woke up during the Biden election. There were people who woke up during the coup. And this is the mask of moment for tons of people, because this is something I agree with. Most people are good people. They are okay, decent, good-hearted, but ignorant and naive, because that's how we come into the world. And the liars, the malicious liars, they know that, and they want to be first to tell you something, to tell you how to think and how to behave, how to be a good person, because then they control you. Because that's all you know, and you think that's what good people do and believe, and you're on the good side, because why wouldn't you? And therefore the other side must be the bad guys. That's why they go for the youth. And the painful thing for that girl, and there were, I can very well imagine the mental breakdowns that people went through after they realized, oh, the left is actually evil. I've been on the side of evil and I didn't know it. I didn't believe it. That's what people will have gone through. And the thing is, once that has crumbled, they will begin thinking about, well, what other things have they told me that I was supposed to believe and that I was really, really mean about towards other people? Oh, the coup. Oh, the Biden election. If they are that evil about gloating about the death of someone being assassinated, who was just a good dude who just wanted to talk, who had okay arguments, who was even understanding of my side of the aisle, of my argument, of my position.
The one guy that was actively seeking out opposing viewpoints to have a conversation. Yeah.
If they're so evil about that, gloating so much about killing someone who was decent, actually, then, well, maybe they did cheat in the Biden election. Maybe they did. Maybe they did lie about the coup. Maybe they did other things. And then it's that the more that keeps crumbling, the more people then realize, oh my god, we live with actual evil, and the real fascists have been the anti-fascists all along, as it was foretold, if you will.
Anti-fascists were never truly against fascism. They were just in favor of a different flavor of fascism.
Exactly, which is why their slogan is by any means necessary. And any means includes fascism. It includes lying, deceit, cheating, child rape,
murder,
cannibalism. Even cannibalism. Remember, they are defending MS-13 as poor immigrants.
Yeah.
That kid he was talking to when it happened, I feel bad for him because he was actually trying to have a discussion. Yeah. He was a statistician. He was trying to say we're not any more violent than anyone else, and
well, that was a wake-up call.
That like he tried to help him too. Like I actually feel bad for that kid. Like he had to witness his whole worldview come crumbling down in a literal second.
About that. Yeah, and in the harshest way possible. I didn't know that was the actual moment of the conversation.
Yeah, like it's that he broke his silence. I feel bad for that kid. Like to have to see that. That's
oh my god. I'm just trying to imagine that you're trying to tell the guy, hey, we are actually not that violent, and then he gets shot. in front of your. That is insane. That is comic book stuff.
All right.
Like that's just.
Let's keep going.
But yeah,
I feel bad for the kid that had to live through that. I
do. Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
All right, let's go.
And dissidents as bad people. If this continues to happen, who knows what violent, oppressive future might manifest? Unlike the reality of MGS2, where a supposedly benevolent AI can make the hard decisions for us, our reality might become a sort of Orwellian nightmare.
Oh, gee, I wonder what's been going on.
The noticing has been noticed.
Yeah. Primer on 1984. If you read Aristotle's Politics, books 6 through 8, which is like 40 pages or something, he lays out the worst kind of democracy. So there's I think 5 types of democracy in it. Some say 6. I'd rather say it's 5. And the worst version of it, he describes as not even meeting the standards of democracy. That's why it's not really one. But it's just people who try to appeal to what the people want to hear. He calls them charmers or something like that. I don't know the English translation. I read it in German. Charmers who then install themselves just as new tyrants and actually espouse what they built, which they in his time was called the People's Government. That sounds familiar. Espouses all the worst elements of democracy, oligarchy, and tyranny. And if we then look at the Soviet Union, at China, East Germany, Cuba, all of the North Korea, all of the communist, the socialist governments, that's what they are. They pretend to be democracies, but they are oligarchies and tyrannies of the worst kind. And the way he describes it is like the absolute distilled version of 1984. There's no privacy. The people are held dumb, to be incompetent, to not be able to rise up. Communication is heavily regulated. People are kept in relative poverty at the very least, so that the middle class is destroyed, so that you can't have the social climbing. And he identifies the middle class as the most important class and the where also the best leaders rise up from, because they're not too rich in order to be pampered and detached from life, and they're not too poor in order to be necessarily greedy in order to make it. And the left always erodes the middle class. And there's all these little things that, and also, of course, the populace will be disarmed because you can't have it rise up. The populace will also be basically made the enemy, and the leadership will rather befriend foreign forces, because the own population is only there to be exploited. And the entire trick is that that Aristotle also gives the answer of how to get out of that, how to get out of 1984, which is very simply put, and he says it in these words: you do the opposite of all of that. You connect with others, you get armed, you educate yourself, not in the way that the left says. Instead, you teach yourself and your next of kin, your children, skills on how to actually build things, on how to defend yourself, and all of these other things. You just do the opposite, and that's how you get out of it. And the most important thing about that is get together with other people, because this type of tyranny tries to atomize society, which is why the family is the enemy of socialism, of communism. Because once you are, because the family is still a group, it's still a coherent group where people can fall back onto, people can rely on. And if you don't have that, well, you're all just absolute individuals that all have to rely on the state, where then there is the collective of absolute individuals And that should scare you. But that's it. That's all I get out of it. TED Talk number 3.
Yeah. I'll only add to that the fact that in universe, the bulk of the events of MGS2 take place in 2009, the Big Shell incident, and that is exactly 80 years after George Orwell wrote 1984. And that was an intentional detail because the Patriots accomplished exactly what Orwell was warning about.
So the Patriots are commies?
Basically, they follow in that same structure with how they function by the end of this game, leading into MGS4 as well.
Yeah. Tidbit. Socialists are never not nationalists. They are always nationalists. They're just not nationalists for the country they are in right now. They're nationalists for the socialist tyranny they want to have in its stead. They're always traitors to the now. Orwell laid that out in his essay Notes on Nationalism, where the British socialists gloated and cheered every time the British forces were beaten by the Nazis. Not because they were cheering for the Nazis, but because they were cheering for, haha, the British forces got weaker. That means we are closer to taking over, haha. And that's what they're doing everywhere, and that's what the Democrats are doing in the United States. And now you can all see it. Now you finally, hopefully, believe that the Democrats are just socialists painted blue.
Yeah. All right.
Still don't see any apologies.
Yep, none yet. Truer words have yet to been spoken. All right, let's keep going.
Which the AI wants to prevent.
We're trying to stop that from happening.
It's our responsibility as rulers. Just as in genetics, unnecessary information and memory must be filtered out to stimulate the evolution of the species.
And you think you're qualified to decide what's necessary and not?
Absolutely. Who else could wade through the sea of garbage you people produce?
The garbage is relevant.
Truths, and even
you people, the way he says it with such disgust.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't say a leader, he says ruler.
Yeah. But this is also the element that, you know, that Hitler's book, My Struggle, that's something that all of the socialists believe in, because they're all eugenicists. They're basically the AI here is basically that, and because they build. This is the reason they create strife and chaos in every country, because they believe the Darwinian struggle between all these biological entities. It has to be fomented. So that only the strongest come out of it, and that is an element of creating the overman or the Übermensch. Because the socialists believe in that just the same, they just give it a different name. But it's not the Nietzschean. Because this is the thing. This is a very important detail. Because Nietzsche coined the term Übermensch, as far as I'm aware. Correct me if I'm wrong. The way that he defined it was not in some biological perfection or some socially the socialized communist who is there for everybody. No, he defined it as the self-actualizing individual, which is simply an adult, somebody mature, somebody above emotional maturity level, consciousness order level 2. That's all that is. So if you are an actual adult who can sustain himself, who can provide for others, who has empathy, not pity, because the left appeals to pity. They always say empathy, but really they mean pity. Replace the word empathy with pity every time they say it, and you will understand what they're actually doing. So if you have then actually developed empathy, that's a third order consciousness thing, then you are already pretty much an Übermensch. It's that simple. Yeah. It's not that difficult.
There is an argument to be made that Solid Snake, over the course of the franchise, does fall under the proper definition of the Übermensch.
Well, usually they compare it to the opposite, which I think he described as the last man. So it's just the opposite of whatever the last man was. So the last man seeks comfort and he's generally complacent, whereas the Übermensch is someone who seeks not conflict, but he likes hardship. He likes to struggle and to seek his limits. So there's other things like
Son Goku.
There's some like whimsical stuff like how much he loves the earth and how much he values creation, and those are more of Nietzsche's spiritual stuffs.
Well, mind you, Snake is more or less put into that position because of how he was trained when he was under Foxhound, being a one-man infiltration
Sure.
operator.
I always like the Dos Equis most interesting man in the world commercials, because it's like this guy, he can do this, he can do that, he invented the telephone. You're like, what the? Like, it's just silly stuff. But he's always having a good time. He's always challenging himself. He's always exciting. All the women love him. All the guys like him. Like, it's just this guy who's always doing the thing in his head that he thinks is right. And it's always nice to compare because of Nietzsche's nihilism with this hopeful ideal that
He wasn't a nihilist. He was slandered as a nihilist.
Okay, well, his crisis of nihilism, however you want to describe his description of his version of nihilism, or the death of God, or whatever you want to.
It's rather no. Nietzsche was an anti-nihilist. He gave the instructions of how to get out of that depression.
Right, as he described it. Right.
Yeah, Marcus Aurelius was a nihilist.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Read his bloody meditations. The man just goes on about, if only I would die soon, and then my soul will dissipate in the ether, and all this pain be gone. Like, there are lighter moments in between, but it always falls back into this. The man was massively depressed. He was abused by his psychotic wife, which is the reason why he put Commodus in as his successor. This completely inept, narcissistic brat.
Well, the basis is that
all boils down to women.
Okay.
And why he was at the front all the time.
Well,
he was constantly at the war front, probably in the hopes that he would be stabbed at some point.
In relation to the distortion of the Ubermensch, he's not some superior genetic guy. He's not some virtue of whatever. He's not trying to control you. He's just this guy who's doing what he wants and doing it as much as he can and doing it properly within the confines of the world he's in.
I mean, he will be virtuous by the nature of that being the natural consequence of introspection.
Of doing his thing and being not the best of it, but the best that he thinks he can do for that thing, and then he moves on and does his own other thing. Anyway, get back to the video.
Yes?
When you can.
Genga?
Oh, okay. I hit unmute on the wrong thing. I was gonna say, since we're finishing up on this video, would it be all right with everyone to do the part 2 of this tomorrow?
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know what my availability will be tomorrow, but that would be fine if that's where y'all have
I can go on. We can just let somebody else then take over.
Yeah, so just to finish this one here, so we can wrap up today's stream, and then tomorrow do the part 2.
Exactly.
If that's all right with everyone.
That's fine.
All right. So let's go. Yeah.
I can. I mean, I would just finish it through today in
Well,
one big go.
yeah,
You wanted to do
setup-
a big 900?
My setup is not perfect, so we gotta do our best. I gotta figure out why it's not working. Yeah.
Yeah, so which is why I would say, like, better be safe than sorry, and just wrap up with this one and then do the part 2 tomorrow.
Yeah,
so
we're fine.
just so Mud can figure that out too.
That's okay.
Everything is chaos.
All right.
That's cool.
All right. Yeah.
That's what it means to create context.
I want to remind you all that Metal Gear Solid 2 came out in 2001. This game was warning us about the advent of fake news, misinformation, and half-truths roughly 2 decades before the issue captured our collective attention. Worse yet,
No. That's captured your collective attention.
Whoever.
Your individual attention, Max.
Yeah,
I grew up in East Germany, post-East Germany. We've been through this shit. We've tried to warn you for decades. You weren't listening. McCarthy was right. Patton was right.
Yeah, this is just when
you didn't listen.
Yeah, this is just when someone with the balls to do it in video games decided to issue this warning.
Yeah, when finally somebody pushed it in your face with through a basically a digital opera.
Wow.
And
basically,
I'm exaggerating on purpose.
Well, that's
so that you listen, just like this game forces you to listen, and it does it at the end of the game, and then gives you this long thing because after all this time, yes, you are used to it, and now you will listen to this unbelievably long lecture.
And for context, this is literally the last cutscene, like second to last cutscene, right before the final boss fight, and it throws all of this in your face.
It's not the very last one. I'm sorry,
well,
I never played. I have to admit, I never played the Metal Gear things because I was a Nintendo kid, and I didn't. I have the collection waiting on Steam. It's collecting dust.
Yeah. In terms of
the collection, I really do.
If I can say,
want to play those games.
To be clear. Yeah, in terms of the codec conversations here, this is the last one of those in the game. That is accurate.
Yeah.
But
who else want you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else want you? Alexander Solzhenitsyn. He even went to the United States. Yuri Bezmenov went to the United States, gave university lectures about it. He warned you. Yuri Maltsev, part of Gorbachev's cabinet, defected, went to the United States, became a professor for economics in not Arizona, I think one of these agrarian states. Anyway, he went out, gave lectures on communism, on its horrors, and how it's actually the same as the Nazi shit. He did this decades ago. He did this in the 90s, and all the way until his death. There are wonderful lectures of him in South Africa, where he talks about, and he gives tons of anecdotes that will crack you up about the insanity and silliness which go together with the horror of the communist system. The people have been warning you all the time, Max. You were just not listening, and all these other people were not listening because your media was not curated in an objective fashion. You just thought that because you didn't know better. Yeah. Brainwashing is not some magical thing where there's a spell put on you. It's not where you are forced into this chair with cuffs around your legs and arms and your eyes forced open with clamps. No. Brainwashing is utterly simple. It's scary how simple it is. Brainwashing is simply that you only get your information from one curated source. And only that, and that source tells you. Whoever tells you otherwise, don't listen to them. Listen to me. And the trick here is, in our media landscape, and you saw that wonderful, you even had a chart on where only Fox News gives you a bit of a different connotation of what you get. All these other things, way earlier. You had like 6-7 big news things in your Americas, and they were all the same. Because what the left does is it is a hydra, its body is underground, and all you see is dozens of these snakeheads sticking out of the ground, and you think they're all different snakes. And some of these snakes, they pretend to be on your side. Some of these snakeheads, they're fighting each other. So that you think, oh, they're just eating each other. I don't need to bother with them. That snakehead there, that's the problem. And this one is fighting with me. So there's actually good guys. We can save some of them. Yay! And then it eats you. Once you turn your back to it. And then when you're dead, they all gloat, they all snicker. And that is the laughter you heard when Charlie Kirk died. Because the body of the Hydra is underground. And that's what you need to address. Not the head.
Sure. A serpent can shed its skin, but at the end of the day, it will always be a snake.
Yep. Which is also poignant considering we're talking about Metal Gear.
I didn't even intend it to be like that.
And this is just as the whole thing with the Patriots and MGS 2 and 4 was at least almost as much of a warning as everything else before it. But this had the disadvantage of it being under Kojima, which is a whole other discussion. But the point is, there was at least some, with hindsight now, we can see some of the validity with what was being conveyed here with the Patriots.
Yet, not only do the AIs describe a potentially dystopian future for both our reality and the reality of the game, but they also make us inadvertently realize that we currently have no constructive solution to the problem. The only tactic available at the moment is for individuals to strengthen their moral compass and call out misinformation where possible. However, given humanity's inherent imperfection, even the best of us are prone to mistakes. Worse yet, instead of bolstering the best among us despite their mistakes, we will feverishly exacerbate the mistakes of our opponents for political gain. We see this quite vividly.
Max, that is so superficial a take that speaks of, and I don't mean this in an insulting manner, of your philosophical illiteracy. You have the right idea, the right direction, but you will make these basic mistakes in that, oh yeah, it's just my side against the other. It's just, I just focus on the errors of the other. I never address my own. That's a mistake. That's a mistake. Mature people address their own flaws. That's why they grow. The philosophical foundation that I suggest to you and to everybody, that's why I repeat it all the time, is Aristotle. Read his Politics. It maps out what you need to know. Some is very ancient stuff. It's not the most accurate anymore, but 98% of it is pretty on point and describes the world and describes effects and describes policies and their effects. And even all of the governmental variants that we can come across and what their positives and negatives are. And as I said, 5 types of democracy. There's also several types of tyrannies. There's several types of kingdoms and oligarchies. It's not just one. And they all have positives and negatives. But there's only one. I think there's only one type of kingdom that's good. And there's only one type of aristocracy that's good. And there's only one type of democracy that's good. And that one type of democracy that's good is not called a democracy, it's called a free state.
What's called a polity.
That is called, like, it's was translated as free state.
Oh, okay, polity.
Yeah, Freistaat. And because here we still have some of the states in Germany are called Freistaat. After this, and that is Saxony and Bavaria, and as well as Switzerland is also called a Freistaat. That's why they went after the Aristotelian translation to free state. And what defined that, it's not true in Germany anymore, it's true in Switzerland, is that the citizenry is always under arms. I'm pretty sure you've heard that somewhere before, Max. Because that is the one thing of how you can ensure that the government keeps acting properly and respect your bloody vote. And if you don't hold it accountable, if the government doesn't fear you anymore, it's not just that you have the guns, the weapons, the swords, the whatever you have. It's that the government also needs to fear you. Because otherwise you have to suffer it. And that is what has happened these past decades. Read Aristotle, and you will have the ethical foundation and the philosophical foundation in order to have a moral compass.
Yeah.
You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
That statement
I
you
accidentally rewrote virtue ethics in my research, and then I read Aristotle, and he already did that. Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, the fact that he mentioned that you have to strengthen your morality or whatever he was referring to, moral reasoning, that's not something to ever let go of. You wouldn't have to strengthen it. You would say, what's the law? Are the people in charge following the law? Are they making laws that coincide with the existing laws? Or are they superseding?
It's more so upholding it.
Well, that's the judicial branch of government that you should also be aware of, sure. But the fact that he's appealing to your morality, it's like, well, that's, this is sort of this moral grandstanding problem we have with people in politics or wherever. It's like, that's not bad, but look at what you're doing and what you're, that's not really the main problem that is going on. The fact that you're appealing to these good-natured facts, this is silly. Everyone's going to have their own intentions in politics, in business, and whatever. Instead of saying, well, we got to let go of our negatives. It's like, no, you can't let go of either side of yourself. Focus on what the politicians are doing, what laws are not being passed or are passed and not being followed. And if they're not, figure out why, and then vote accordingly. There's other issues like, okay, is it not the best system? How do you change the system? Blah, blah, blah. It's more complicated. But this idea like, oh, you just listen to the guy that sounds the best. It makes you feel the best. That's how you get Obama and all these other Trudeau's. The guys that sound, oh, he makes me feel morally superior. It's like, oh, okay, that's nice, but
yeah, sure.
Is he going to do the thing? No, he's going to bomb the shit out of everyone.
He's going to bomb civilians over in the Middle East that didn't deserve it.
He's going to kill Americans. Yeah, all these other silly things.
Hey, he got the Nobel Peace Prize before he got into office because he was just so awesome. And then he bombed everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and Trump ended wars. Trump ended wars.
Well, yeah, but look at Trump.
And prevented others from starting. He didn't start a single one. He didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. So the Nobel Peace Prize actually means that you end peace.
He isn't trying to appeal to your morality, Trump. He's like, no, we're American. Get out of the way. We're doing it properly, or at least he thinks he's doing it properly. It's like, okay, fine.
Well, he has done it properly. Let's be honest. Not entirely, but just enough at the very least.
He's doing at least what the systems in place are used for, and he's getting rid of crap that shouldn't be. That's true, yeah. So compared to what we had, well, I would say the Obama years is another extension of Biden, but it's I don't know what to call it. It's the past 4 years with Biden. I don't know what to tell it.
So many years of crap.
I don't know what was going on. I don't think too many people can describe it very easily.
Well,
at least not on that side.
It's so extreme that people even this was a conversation just after the Kirk thing happened, where someone in town, a young guy, otherwise very nice, very generous. He was also captured by all of this crap and said that, oh well, I don't think he deserves to die, but he was an asshole, and so I won't be sad about it. What were his words? And it was very callous, and there was hate dripping from it, and that was outside induced, and then he thought himself to be well informed, and so we sat him down and talked about it, and we couldn't talk long enough about it to make much progress, but he was shaking, insecure, because he realized that he had fucked up majorly, and because he had no ground to stand on. And one of the things that happened in that is that one of the other guys that we play cards with, is also one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. He's a Catholic, and he studies theology. So then we asked, like, so you're big, because there were two issues that he had, because of which he thought to not mourn or think bad about Charlie's death, Charlie's murder. Really, it's not just death. Said, his stance on abortion, which we elaborated for. What that topic is a bit bigger, and so we said, like, here. This friend of ours here, you know him. He's Catholic. You have the same stance, right? So, which is never abort. And he said, yeah, of course, because that's a religious matter. And then so we asked him, so should he be shot too? Would that be okay? You wouldn't mourn because of that? And that's what hit it home. That's what shook him. Because just because of this one opinion, the other was even flimsier. Because of this one opinion that somebody has, for some reason, you will think them not human enough to mourn?
Because the philosophy was not exactly his death is okay. Like, what? Okay.
Yeah. And another thing for Max, a recommendation, if you could stand watching us, if you did, the comic Transmetropolitan by Warren Ellis, when he was still writing really, really well, also warned us about Obama before Obama existed. But the character is that becomes president is not black, but he's called a smiler, and everything is just Obama but white. And he then goes bombing everybody.
Yep, that's the reality of that whole point.
So there were so many predictions. There were so many warnings, and it was a Democrat in the book. His counter,
the Beast.
Yeah, exactly, the Beast. That the main character, who's a journalist, an actual journalist, has his troubles with, and they can still talk with each other, and they are mean to each other, but afterwards, the main character will tell the Beast, I always, something in the realms of, I always hated you, I was always opposed to you, but at least you always stood for what you talked about. You were honest. While the Smiler is not. The Smiler is just a sniveling despot and tyrant. And that is not respectable. So he could have more, even this hyper-left main character could have more respect for the mean Republican in the end. I think that's noteworthy. When did Warren Ellis go insane anyway?
Don't worry about him. Anyway, let's keep going.
All right, last 2 minutes.
Game. We see this quite vividly in what has been aptly termed call-out culture. For instance, it is thanks to this culture that there is no host for the Oscars this year. It is thanks to this culture that people
what a loss
for a tweet they made 10 years ago. A person might even be fired for a tweet that was taken out of context, when said person did nothing wrong whatsoever. Worst of all, it is thanks to this culture that we will elect politicians not based on their ethics or policies, but on how effectively they can punch the other side. And let me reemphasize.
That was the left again.
Well, he said call-out culture, not cancel culture. He just described...
Same difference.
Yeah, you didn't have... It was 2019. You didn't have the term yet.
Oh, no? Not yet? Oh.
No, I would say we had the term, but it was just, again,
it was not as common yet.
Yeah, but the practice has always been there.
Well...
The left has practiced this in Weimar, for fuck's sake.
Oh, right.
In Germany, they have always done it. They have always called your employer and then slandered you. And you would lose your job just because the employer didn't want more trouble. Now, even if they believed you, you did nothing wrong, but I want to keep my company safe. I want to keep the other employees safe. That's why they did it. Then that's an actual reign of terror. The definition of terror, the second definition, so the second one is to get your way by creating an atmosphere of fear, and that is what the left does all the damn time. They are terrorists, and when they are the government, it will be terrorism by the state. You will be ruled by terrorism. That's the mean thing.
All right. Let's finish this up.
We have no solution to this problem. In the reality of Metal Gear Solid 2, however, a hypothetical solution is presented. Because people abuse the responsibility that comes along with freedom of speech and expression and would rather attack people than their ideas, a system that controls information must be set up, supposedly for our own good.
Again, that's the thing. You remember this thing about small-minded people talk about people? And I don't know the English.
Well, men talk about ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the same thing. What do you attack? A person or an idea? And the narcissist, the emotionally immature, the consciousness second order or lower, will attack people, will attack a person, not an idea. And that's what we saw with Charlie. He was attacked, not his idea, by the emotionally immature. And that is the solution. We need to elevate people out of the emotional immaturity. We need to find ways again to make them grow up. And then we get into better days again. That's it. That's the solution, Mac. And that was always the solution. There's been research into emotional maturity up until 1968. Very peculiar date, by the way. And after that, it never came up in research. It ended at the time that the left took over academia. That's all you need to know about what's going on. They always knew they needed the emotionally immature. I went through that with Aiden at some point, where I asked, can you dig through stuff and find something? And she was baffled. She was baffled when she told me that, oh, last thing where this word ever comes up is 1968. Time to continue that research. Because the answers, I bet, are already there. And they're probably thousands of years old.
All right, keep going.
The AI go into more detail regarding this solution as the conversation goes on. However, that analysis will have to be saved for the second part of this video. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so that's part one of the video.
And understand the importance of the message I'm trying to convey, please share it around. Also, I implore you to check out Logo Steve's original video, The Most Profound Moment in Gaming. 9 years later, it is still my favorite YouTube video of all time, and I think you will get a lot of...
He just made his own version of that, it looks like.
An expanded version. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because it's like this thing is so old, I want to bring it back into public consciousness.
I guess, yeah.
So, yeah, that's okay.
Well, that's fine. So we're in agreement that we're going to leave this part 2 here for tomorrow, right?
If we have time and everyone's available, that'd be great.